Every moment the earth inhales, through waves that rise and fall, through the wind that drifts between trees, through the slow exhale of clouds forming and fading. Even in the quietest night the planet breathes, steady, ancient, alive. Its pulse hums through soil, ocean, and air. And as you lie still, somewhere within that vast motion, you're being carried too. Welcome to AstraFlow. Here, science drifts like starlight, and curiosity becomes calm. Tonight, let your thoughts slow down, your breathing find its rhythm, and your mind float through wonder. Before we begin, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Are you lying in bed under city lights, or watching the stars from somewhere quiet? Tell me in the comments. It's always peaceful to imagine the AstraFlow community scattered across the world, drifting together through the same sky. And if this calm journey brings you peace, you can gently support AstraFlow by liking this video or subscribing. It helps this little corner of the cosmos keep glowing. Now, let's begin tonight's voyage into the quiet story of our home, the Earth, a planet that moves, yet never rushes, that turns endlessly, yet feels still beneath our feet, that holds within it the rhythm of every breath we take. When viewed from space, the Earth appears to shimmer in soft blues and whites, a single luminous bead floating through darkness. Astronauts often say it looks alive, as if breathing. That impression is more than poetry, it's true in science. Air rises, cools and sinks again. Oceans draw in heat, then release it to the wind. Forests inhale carbon, then exhale oxygen. Every cycle mirrors a living chest expanding and contracting. In this endless respiration, balance is born. It is what keeps temperatures steady, what feeds rain and nourishes life. We rarely notice it because it happens so quietly. But as you slow your breath now, you're moving in sync with that same rhythm. Inhale, the trees breathe with you. Exhale, the sea mirrors your calm. The Earth is not a silent rock in space. It is a breathing organism made of countless flows, the motion of wind, the drift of rivers, the tectonic murmurs beneath continents. Every vibration joins into one slow harmony, a universal exhale beneath the stars. If you listen closely, even through silence, you can almost feel it. A steady pulse, older than memory, carrying us softly through time. And tonight, as you drift deeper into rest, let that thought cradle you, that you're not separate from the planet, but part of its quiet respiration. You are the Earth, breathing itself to sleep. What makes a planet peaceful? Is it silence, the absence of noise, or is it something gentler, a balance, a hidden harmony among endless movements that never truly stop? Even as we sleep, the planet hums with quiet energy. Winds move invisibly through the sky. Tides pull and return without pause. Deep within the mantle, molten rock circulates in unhurried loops that last millions of years. Yet through all of this motion, the world never seems frantic. It feels composed, balanced, serene. Peace, perhaps, is not the lack of activity, but the presence of rhythm. Every layer of earth, the air, the sea, the soil, follows a pattern that repeats, overlaps, and sustains. Waves crash and fade. Rain falls, evaporates, and returns. Mountains rise and crumble into dust that seeds new valleys. Each motion completes the next, like slow breathing between moments. When we sense calm, it's often because we've tuned into that rhythm without realizing it. A walk through a quiet forest feels peaceful, not only because it's silent, but because the forest cycles are steady, predictable, life returning to itself without hurry. The human body recognizes that cadence. Our own heartbeat begins to align, our breathing deepens, and slowly, awareness fades into something simpler, being. Science calls this synchronization entrainment. when one rhythm matches another. Your heart can subtly adjust to a song's tempo, your breath to ocean waves, your neurons to flickering light. And right now, as you listen, your body is doing the same with Earth's slower pulse. Its spin, its tides, its temperature changes, all subtle, all constant. You're aligning with something vast and ancient, though you may not feel it consciously. Imagine holding your hand against the trunk of a tree. Beneath your fingers, sap rises slowly through xylem channels, carrying water drawn from soil toward the sunlight above. That flow is steady, measured, older than language. It is motion at peace. The earth teaches calm not by stopping, but by continuing, moving endlessly in cycles too broad for hurry, too graceful for chaos. If you've ever watched a sunset and felt the world exhale with you, that's what you were sensing. A balance so complete, it feels like rest. As this journey continues, we'll drift deeper into those hidden harmonies, the invisible currents of air, water, and light that make this planet not only alive but profoundly peaceful. Let your thoughts soften, like clouds dissolving into twilight. The night deepens, and in its quiet, the earth breathes again. Though you may not feel it, the ground beneath you is moving, not in chaos, but in perfect, patient rhythm. Every 24 hours, Earth completes a soft turn through the dark, carrying mountains, oceans, and every sleeping soul with it. Right now, as you listen, the planet is rotating at nearly 1,600 kilometers per hour, yet it feels utterly still. That is the paradox of calm. Immense motion disguised as peace. Imagine standing on the deck of a slowly spinning sphere suspended in velvet night. The stars appear to drift overhead, but in truth, it is we who drift, effortlessly, smoothly. This rotation has continued unbroken for over 4 billion years. It has never faltered, never lost its grace. It is the most reliable lullaby in existence. The gentle motion of our world shapes the rhythm of everything we know. Day becomes night. Warmth becomes coolness. Flowers close and open. Tides rise and fall. Even our internal clocks, the circadian rhythms that decide when we wake, when we dream, are tuned to this planetary spin. You are, in every sense, turning with the Earth. Scientists once measured the planet's rotation using atomic clocks so precise they could detect a change of a single millisecond. They found that earthquakes, melting glaciers, even wind patterns can slightly alter Earth's spin. Tiny wobbles in the cosmic dance. But the planet always steadies itself, finding balance again. It reminds us that peace isn't a frozen state. It's a living correction, a return to center after every subtle shift. When you close your eyes, picture the vastness of Earth gliding through its rotation, oceans shimmering under moonlight, continents slowly entering dawn. From space, this motion looks like the slow unfurling of light across a sphere of... Every sunrise you've ever seen is part of that same continuous flow. The sun doesn't truly rise or set. It's our own turning that creates the illusion. What a comforting thought. That morning and night are simply the Earth's way of rocking us gently to rest and then back to life. The air you breathe, the pulse of your veins, the rhythm of your sleep, all resonate with this spinning harmony. Even as you lie perfectly still, you are in motion with everything else. You are part of a vast cradle that never stops swaying. So tonight, let that awareness ease you. You're moving, but you are safe. You are turning, but you are calm. And somewhere deep within that rotation, the world hums quietly. A planet of gentle motion, carrying you through the dark toward another dawn. Look up, even in darkness, and imagine the invisible sea above you. That soft gradient of air, stretching upward for hundreds of kilometers, is the reason peace can exist here at all. Earth's atmosphere, thin, delicate, and luminous, is the planet's first and final comfort. It wraps around the world like a breath made visible, a transparent blanket woven from nitrogen, oxygen, and traces of noble gases. If you could hold the entire atmosphere in your hands, compressing it into liquid form, it would barely fill an ocean basin. That's how fragile it is. A skin so thin it could vanish in an instant if the planet forgot its balance. And yet, this veil holds everything we need: warmth, sound, clouds, rain, and life itself. During the day, it scatters sunlight into 1,000 shades of blue. The reason our sky glows like a tranquil ocean turned inside out. At night, it filters cosmic radiation, letting starlight shimmer safely through. Without this layer, the world would be silent and frozen, a stone turning through empty darkness. Instead, it hums with life because air exists to carry it. Birdsong, laughter, wind, the distant rush of waves. All of these are the voices of the atmosphere. It's easy to forget that when you breathe in, you are participating in the planet's greatest act of exchange. The same molecules that fill your lungs have travelled across continents, through clouds and forests and ancient storms. A breath you take tonight may once have been exhaled by a whale surfacing in the Pacific, or by the gentle sigh of a pine forest centuries ago. Air is memory in motion, constantly reshaping, never ending. In its stillness, the atmosphere is not truly still. Currents rise and fall, winds coil and uncoil, clouds condense and dissolve. Even now, while you rest, the upper air glows faintly with auroras, ribbons of light drawn by charged particles kissing the magnetic field. They shimmer silently, unseen by most, yet they're happening at this very moment. A lullaby written in plasma, singing peace over polar skies. Scientists sometimes call Earth's atmosphere a boundary of grace, the perfect pressure, the perfect blend, allowing water to stay liquid, warmth to linger, and breath to flow. If any element shifted too far, everything would change. But it doesn't. The balance holds. Just as your own breath steadies itself, inhale by exhale, Earth's veil keeps its rhythm, patient, light, enduring. So tonight, as air moves gently in and out of your lungs, think of that invisible ocean surrounding you. You are not apart from it. You're inside it, floating, breathing with the world. The planet's calm is in your breath. The sky's silence is in your chest. And together you and Earth exhale into the same quiet rhythm, a harmony of air and peace. If you close your eyes now, you might notice the faintest movement. The air drifting against your skin, cool and quiet. You can't see it, but it is there, shaping everything around you. From the smallest rustle of leaves to the vast spirals of hurricanes, air is motion made invisible, a dancer that never stops moving, yet never demands to be seen. When the sun warms one corner of the planet and leaves another in shadow, air responds in silence. Warm molecules rise, cool ones sink, pressure shifts, currents form. The invisible dancer begins its endless waltz, crossing mountains, deserts, oceans and cities, whispering through every landscape in its path. That same wind brushing a child's cheek in one country may, weeks later, carry the scent of rain to another. We often think of wind as sound, the rush through branches, the howl between buildings. But in truth, air itself has no voice. What we hear is the world responding to its touch, trees bending, waves forming, windows trembling. Air is the musician. The planet is its instrument. Together they compose the background music of existence, never written down, never repeated, always alive. High above us, jet streams race like rivers of air, flowing faster than any storm. They steer clouds, shape weather, and carry seeds, dust, even microscopic life across the globe. Scientists have found particles of Saharan sand resting on Caribbean islands, and spores from forests drifting to polar snow. The sky connects everything, one vast circulation of breath between continents. Yet, despite this constant motion, there is peace in its pattern. Each current follows the laws of physics so precisely that even chaos has rhythm. The air balances itself, redistributing warmth, equalizing pressure, ensuring no part of the planet stays still for too long. It's the same principle that governs your own body. Inhalation, exhalation, exchange. To breathe is to imitate the earth. At dawn, air grows denser, settling close to the ground. By midday, it lifts again, shimmering with heat. By nightfall, it quiets, layers cooling, returning to equilibrium. If you've ever stood outside at sunset and felt a sudden stillness, the way the world seems to pause before darkness, that is the atmosphere resting, completing its daily dance. In meditation, we are told to follow the breath, not to control it, but to witness it. The same is true for the planet. Air doesn't need to be managed. It finds its own balance, its own calm, through endless movement. Peace isn't the absence of air's dance. Peace is the dance. So tonight, feel the faint current against your skin. It has travelled across oceans, around mountains, through storms and stillness alike, only to arrive here, beside you, now. Let it move through you as gently as thought. Let your breath and the planet's breath become one. In this shared rhythm, nothing is rushed. Everything flows. If Earth could dream, its dreams would move like the sea. Every tide, every ripple, every quiet shimmer of moonlight on water, all part of a rhythm that never truly rests. The ocean is not a place of silence, but of eternal, peaceful motion, the slow breathing of the planet itself. Each day the moon's gravity tugs at the sea, drawing billions of tons of water across the globe. Tides rise on one shore as they fall on another. And though this cycle seems simple, it is ancient, older than the continents themselves. Long before the first forests, before the first birds took flight, the ocean had already learned to sway with the moon. Listen, and you can almost hear it. The sound of water returning home. Every wave that meets the land was once deep in the open ocean, drawn by gravity's patient hand. It travels thousands of miles to crash, dissolve, and return, its motion the closest thing the earth has to a heartbeat. Even beneath the surface, the sea is alive with movement so calm it borders on stillness. Cold, dense water from the poles sinks and drifts toward the equator, while warm currents from the tropics rise and glide northward. A silent planetary circulation called the Great Ocean Conveyor Belt. This flow takes 1,000 years to complete one full cycle. Imagine that. A single droplet of water beginning its journey now would not finish until long after all of us are gone. That is how patient the ocean is. That is what eternal calm looks like. And yet, the sea is never truly quiet. Its waves speak in slow, endless syllables. Scientists once placed sensitive microphones deep underwater and discovered a constant low hum. Vibrations born from waves colliding, storms travelling, whales calling. It's a soft chorus that envelops the planet, a sound too deep for our ears but powerful enough to move continents through time. The ocean hums so steadily that it helps geophysicists measure Earth's rotation. It is literally part of the planet's song. At night, when moonlight touches the water, its silver glow becomes a map of movement. You can see tides folding over themselves, tiny phosphorescent sparks lighting up as plankton drift and breathe. Every shimmer is a life, every current a pulse. And even in that constant motion, the sea feels profoundly calm, because nothing resists. Every drop yields, joins, flows. That is why the ocean soothes us. Its peace comes from surrender. As you breathe in now, imagine the tide drawing near. As you exhale, picture it retreating. You are breathing with the sea. the same rhythm the planet has kept for billions of nights. The ocean does not sleep, but it allows us to. It carries the memory of every storm and still remains calm. It teaches the art of letting go, of always returning to flow. So let the hush of distant waves fill your thoughts. Let your mind drift like plankton in moonlight. No resistance, only movement, only peace. Far above the oceans that sway and shimmer, a quiet companion drift through the dark. The moon, pale, patient, and steady, has circled Earth for more than 4 billion years. It moves so slowly that we rarely feel its pull directly, yet everything beneath it responds. The tides, the crust, even the rhythms within our own bodies. It is the planet's silent metronome, setting the tempo for oceans, seasons, and sleep. Every night, the moon's gravity reaches across space to touch the Earth. It lifts entire oceans by invisible threads, pulling them toward its light. It stabilizes our tilt, keeping the seasons gentle, preventing our world from wobbling into chaos. Without it, the Earth would sway unpredictably, days would shorten, and climates would drift into extremes. The moon, in its stillness, keeps everything calm. If you've ever stared at its face on a quiet night and felt peace without knowing why, perhaps it's because your body remembers this connection. The same gravitational rhythm that moves the tides influences you too. The subtle fluids of your cells, the slow chemistry of your sleep, the timing of your internal clock. Some studies have shown that during full moons, human sleep can slightly shift, a faint echo of ancient harmony between the sky and the sea inside us. But the moon is more than science. It's a symbol of reflection, light borrowed, not created. It shines because it listens, because it accepts sunlight and gives it back softly, transformed into calm. Every glimmer on the surface of a midnight ocean, every silver shadow through a forest is sunlight filtered through patience. That's what the moon teaches. Stillness doesn't mean absence. It means transformation without resistance. Long ago, when life on Earth was just beginning, the moon sat much closer to us, its pull stronger, its light brighter. Over billions of years it has drifted away at the rate your fingernails grow. Even in separation, it moves gently, slowly, gracefully. A farewell stretched across eternity, yet always bound by love. Imagine the view from space, the Earth turning, wrapped in blue and white, the moon circling in silence, its orbit smooth as breath. Together they move like two dancers in an endless waltz. No sound, no hurry, just gravity and grace. This slow, perfect rhythm has guided every tide, every season, every life that has ever looked up in wonder. Even now, as you listen, the moon is above you, unseen perhaps, but always there, pulling softly at the oceans, at your pulse, at your dreams. Let that thought cradle you. You're part of a rhythm that began before memory. You're carried in the same slow pulse that moves the seas and stirs the night sky. The moon will keep turning, the tides will keep breathing, and you, like all things, will find your calm in that eternal motion. Beneath the cool crust of Earth, below the soil, the stone, and the quiet layers where roots reach, there lies a deep and ancient fire. It has burned since the planet's birth, hidden and patient, never resting. We rarely think of it as we walk, sleep, or breathe, but every mountain, every island, every patch of solid ground exists because of that invisible warmth. This inner fire is not chaos. It is slow, steady, and ordered. A heat born from the decay of ancient elements, from the lingering energy of creation itself. At the planet's core, molten iron spins faster than the surface, generating a magnetic field that shields us from cosmic storms. It hums quietly, a rhythm of liquid metal and gravity, the deep heartbeat of Earth. Imagine descending layer by layer through the crust. You pass through cool stone, then warmer rock, then glowing magma moving in graceful swirling loops. These motions are not random. They form the tectonic currents that shift continents, raise mountains, and renew the surface of the world. Every volcano, every earthquake, every new island born in the ocean is part of this slow respiration of heat and stone. It's the planet's way of stretching, a reminder that even solid ground is alive in its own patient rhythm. Scientists estimate that if you drill just a few kilometers down, you would already feel temperatures hot enough to boil water. Go deeper still, and the heat would melt iron. Yet all of this power is contained, balanced, stable, proof that fire can coexist with peace when it learns to flow. The same principle lives in us, our own warmth, our metabolism, our pulse, all regulated flames within calm vessels. Life is not the absence of fire, it is fire in harmony. There's poetry in knowing that the surface we call home is only the cool skin of something far more alive beneath. When you rest your body on the ground, the warmth below travels up through layers of mineral and memory. It whispers of ancient origins, of stardust compressed into stone, of molten beginnings shaped into a haven for water and breath. Even the quietest meadow is floating above an ocean of glowing energy. In Iceland, steam rises from cracks in the earth, curling like breath from the planet's mouth. In Japan, hot springs emerge where magma meets rainwater, creating pools of gentle heat where people have soaked for centuries. These are the places where Earth reveals a glimpse of its inner calm, warmth offered, not withheld. As you lie still tonight, think of that hidden fire beneath your floor, your bed, your world. It doesn't rage, it glows, it sustains. Without it, there would be no continents, no oceans, no magnetic field to protect the sky. The fire beneath us is both creation and comfort, the quiet proof that peace can come from power well contained. Let that image settle in your mind, a planet glowing softly from within, breathing heat into cold space, alive, ancient and endlessly balanced. The warmth beneath your feet is the same warmth that began the stars. It lives in silence, but its calm keeps everything alive. Look upward on a quiet afternoon and you'll see them, slow, shifting rivers of air, suspended above the world. Clouds, weightless yet full of water, drifting like thoughts across the open sky. They are the planet's softest messengers, carrying the story of the seas to the farthest corners of the earth. A single cloud can weigh thousands of tons, yet it floats effortlessly. Its secret is balance, warm air rising, cool air condensing, water vapour meeting gravity in a perfect dance. Every cloud you see is a moment of harmony, a brief alignment between air, temperature and time. Then, just as gently as it forms, it fades away, becoming invisible once more. Nothing resists, everything flows. When scientists study clouds, they speak in numbers, humidity, pressure, altitude. But the truth is more poetic. Each cloud is a memory of motion. Water once lifted from the ocean now travels above mountains, deserts and forests, changing form again and again. A drop evaporated from a Pacific wave might later fall as snow on the Himalayas or rain on a quiet field in France. The sky is the planet's bloodstream, and clouds are its moving cells. They also carry life's hidden gifts. As they drift, clouds collect dust, pollen and salt, scattering the materials that feed soil and seed. Without them, rain would never fall, rivers would never form, and forests could not breathe. In their softness lies immense power, the ability to shape weather, nourish ecosystems, and cool the burning face of the earth. From space, clouds look like brushstrokes of light, a living canvas that never repeats itself. They swirl in fractal spirals, reflecting sunlight back into space by day and holding warmth close by night. They are the planet's skin temperature made visible, a self-regulating system of shade and shelter. And though we often see them as symbols of change, their movement is the very definition of peace, transformation without struggle. Imagine lying in a meadow watching them drift. They form mountains, then dissolve into oceans of air. They remind us of impermanence, that nothing, not even our thoughts, needs to stay fixed. The mind, like the sky, is meant to let things pass through. Every worry, every idea, every feeling is a kind of weather, and peace comes when we let it move on. There is comfort in knowing that the water in those clouds has been here since the dawn of time. It has fallen as rain on ancient forests, frozen into glaciers, melted into rivers, risen again as mist. The same molecules that touch the skin of dinosaurs now drift above you, waiting to fall once more. You are breathing air that has passed through ages, drinking the memory of storms long gone. So tonight, when you close your eyes, imagine clouds floating in slow motion across your thoughts, not heavy, not rushing, simply being. They travel as you rest, connecting ocean to mountain, breath to breath, heart to horizon. And somewhere within that endless cycle, peace forms, as light as vapour, as eternal as rain. There is a kind of silence that only arrives with rain. It begins as a hush, a pause between breaths, when the first drop touches the ground. Then the rhythm begins, soft, measured, endless, a conversation between sky and earth spoken in water. Each drop carries a story, a memory of where it has been and where it will go next. The water falling tonight might once have drifted in a prehistoric sea. It may have touched the scales of ancient fish, risen again through the leaves of a fern, and lingered in the mist above forgotten forests. Every droplet is timeless, returning home over and over, reshaping the planet with patience instead of force. Rain is how the earth remembers its oceans. As it falls, it cools the air, feeding the scent we call petrichor, that earthy perfume born when dry soil meets the first touch of moisture. The chemistry is simple. Oils from plants mix with molecules released by microbes, lifted by the impact of falling rain. But to the human heart, it feels like nostalgia, a fragrance that carries calm through memory and time. Scientists can explain the reaction, but they cannot measure the comfort it brings. Raindrops do not fall alone. They gather, merge, separate, and rejoin, forming patterns of motion as intricate as symphonies. Each drop, as it strikes a leaf or window or ocean wave, creates a brief, perfect tone, a vibration that adds to the planet's endless, soothing percussion. Together, they compose a lullaby of patience, one that quiets the world's edges and softens every sound. In that music, everything finds rhythm again, from the smallest insect beneath a leaf to the rivers swelling far away. When rain travels across continents, it doesn't rush. It flows through invisible paths, from clouds to soil to streams and back into air. This is the hydrologic cycle, the eternal round of giving and receiving. No water is ever lost, only transformed. A drop that falls in your garden tonight might one day drift into the ocean, evaporate into mist, and fall again on another world's shore. The planet's calm is written in that repetition, nothing wasted, nothing hurried, everything returning in time, and when the rain finally stops, the quiet it leaves behind feels sacred. The air is cooler, the ground darker, the leaves washed clean of dust. In that stillness, you can sense the earth's deep sigh, relief, renewal, repose. Rain teaches us that peace doesn't come from avoiding storms, but from knowing they always end, and that what follows is gentler than before. So if you hear rain tonight, on rooftops, on windows, or only in memory, let it guide your breathing. Each drop falls, rests, and disappears. Each thought can do the same. Let them pass one by one, until the rhythm of rain becomes your own heartbeat, falling, pausing, flowing, returning. Peace, like water, does not need to be held. It needs only to be allowed. Step quietly into a forest, and you will feel it long before you understand it. The air cools, thickens slightly, and fills with something invisible, a blend of moisture, scent, and life. That freshness you inhale is more than just clean air. It is the forest breathing, one vast, slow exhalation shared with the world. Every leaf is a lung, every branch a vein. Through photosynthesis, trees draw in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, the invisible rhythm that allows your own lungs to rise and fall. When sunlight touches a forest canopy, a chemical symphony begins. Water, air, and light, merging to create the atmosphere of peace we feel there. This isn't just poetic, it's physical. The oxygen you breathe tonight may have been released by a pine needle this morning, or by a fern unfolding deep in the shade. Forests do not hurry. They grow in silence measured in centuries. Roots communicate through underground networks of fungi, trading nutrients and messages between species. One tree warns another of drought. Another shares water from deeper soil. Science calls this the mycorrhizal network. But it feels like something older, a slow, patient intelligence woven beneath the earth. A web of care, a collective breath. Listen carefully. The wind that moves through leaves is not merely weather. It is the sound of the forest exhaling. Each tremble, each whisper is air leaving thousands of green lungs at once, carrying traces of calm into the sky. That's why standing beneath trees feels restorative. You're breathing their gift and in return offering the carbon they need. It's a perfect exchange, quiet and equal. Two rhythms, one shared breath. Researchers have measured the way forests alter the air around them. They release compounds called phytoncides, natural aerosols that calm human physiology. These molecules lower heart rates, ease stress hormones, and even improve sleep. You don't need to understand the chemistry to feel it. Your body already knows. When you inhale in a forest, your nervous system exhales. Even at night, when photosynthesis rests, trees continue to breathe in their own way, drawing in oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide, adjusting to the pulse of darkness. They move with the same rhythm you do when you drift towards sleep, slower, deeper, steady. It is said that old-growth forests never stop exhaling peace, even long after storms have passed. Their calm is constant because their patience is infinite. So tonight, as your lungs fill and empty, imagine you're lying beneath those trees. Each inhale draws in their cool, filtered air. Each exhale joins their rhythm, disappearing upward into the canopy. There is no boundary between your breath and the planets, only one vast cycle of giving and receiving life and rest. In the language of the forest, nothing is separate. Every root, every leaf, every sigh of wind is part of one great respiration, a reminder that peace doesn't need to be found. It is already here, moving through you as quietly as air through green leaves. There comes a moment every evening when the earth exhales. The light softens, the colours fade, and the edges of the world begin to blur. Day gives way to night, not in an instant, but in a gradual surrender. A transition so gentle it feels like a sigh. It is in this twilight that the planet seems to rest, and everything living remembers how to slow down. As the sun dips beneath the horizon, its rays stretch farther through the atmosphere, scattering blue light and leaving only the warm hues of red, amber, and violet. This is why sunsets feel peaceful to the eyes. The shorter wavelengths fade away, leaving behind tones our brains read as calm. The world is literally shifting into softer light, inviting every sense to loosen. Birds quiet their songs, retreating to nests. Flowers fold their petals, sensing the cool change in air, Even the wind changes character, from playful to contemplative, from chatter to whisper. Each sound, once sharp and bright, dissolves into a low hum, as if the planet itself were preparing for sleep. In these few minutes, the temperature drops. The land releases the warmth it held through the day, radiating it back toward the darkening sky. The air thickens slightly, carrying the scent of dust, leaves, and stone. It is a universal rhythm, the slow balancing of heat and cold, motion and stillness, life and rest. The same pattern happens in your body. Adrenaline fades, muscles loosen, the mind unwinds its grip. The outer world mirrors the inner one and peace arrives between them. From a distance, night appears as darkness, but in truth, it is filled with hidden light. Stars awaken one by one, their glow older than time. The moon ascends, reflecting sunlight in softer tones, so we may dream without fear. Fireflies flicker, waves shimmer, and even the tiniest grains of sand catch what little radiance the sky offers. Night is not the absence of the sun. It is the earth turning toward quiet illumination. If you have ever stepped outside at dusk and felt your heart beat slow, it's because your body knows this transition. It's written in our cells, in the circadian rhythm that governs sleep and wakefulness. As light fades, your brain releases melatonin, the natural signal that it is time to rest. You are not separate from the planet's rhythm, you are shaped by it. The same chemistry that makes flowers close also tells your eyes to drift shut. In many cultures, nightfall was once seen as sacred, a daily renewal, a miniature ending that promised rebirth. Villages quieted, fires dimmed, and families gathered close to share silence before dreams. It wasn't fear of the dark, it was reverence for stillness, the understanding that life needs its pauses, that even motion must rest. So tonight, as shadows stretch and the sky deepens, allow yourself to follow the planet's lead. Let your breath slow with the cooling air. Let your thoughts dim like fading light. There is no need to rush towards sleep. It will come naturally, as surely as dusk becomes night. Outside, the world is resting, not stopped, but transformed. Inside, you are doing the same. The calm of nightfall is not only around you, it is within you, unfolding with every breath, every heartbeat, every gentle closing of the eyes. In the distance, mountains rise, vast silhouettes etched against the horizon, quiet and unshakable. They seem eternal, as if they have always stood there, untouched by wind or change. But mountains, like everything else, are moving. Only their pace is so slow, so patient, that we call it stillness. Every peak is born from motion deep beneath our feet, tectonic plates drifting, colliding, folding layers of stone upward toward the sky. What feels like permanence is simply motion stretched across millions of years. A mountain is a frozen wave in the ocean of time, and just as it rises, it will someday fall, eroded grain by grain, dissolved into rivers, carried away to form new land. Creation and decay, ascent and surrender. A rhythm too vast for human eyes to follow, yet perfectly balanced. Stand at the foot of a mountain and listen. You might think there is silence, but there isn't. You can hear the faint murmur of water seeping through cracks, the whisper of wind moving along stone, the call of a distant bird echoing across valleys. The mountain listens too. It has endured centuries of storms, heat, and cold, sculpted not by violence but by patience. Time itself is the sculptor, and its chisel is gentle. Scientists studying the Himalayas found that the range grows a few millimeters taller each year, imperceptible to us, yet unstoppable. At the same time, rain and frost wear it down, balancing creation with erosion. Even the tallest peaks, Everest, Kilimanjaro, Fuji, breathe in this rhythm of rise and fall. Peace for the mountains is not about standing still. It's about allowing the forces of the world to pass through without resistance. There is something deeply calming in their scale. When we look upon mountains, we are reminded of how small our worries are, how brief our moments of struggle appear against the backdrop of eons. Each stone, once part of the sea floor, was lifted skyward by the same invisible flows that move continents. To touch a rock on a mountain is to touch ancient seabed, stardust, history. Everything we are comes from that same upward surge, the earth dreaming of height, then resting in it. In many old cultures, mountains were seen as sacred, the meeting point between earth and sky, body and spirit, gravity and light. Pilgrims climbed not to conquer, but to listen. They believed the higher one went, the thinner the veil between the physical and the eternal. And perhaps they were right. The air at altitude is quiet in a way that feels holy, stripped of noise and clutter, leaving only breath and heartbeat. Up there, time slows until even the wind feels like a prayer. When you look at a mountain, you're looking at patience made visible. Every ridge is a memory, every stone a syllable in a long conversation between earth and time. It tells us that endurance is not rigidity, it is softness stretched over centuries, that strength can come from still motion, and peace can live inside change. So as you drift tonight, imagine yourself lying at the base of a great mountain. The ground beneath you is ancient, unhurried, alive with the slow pulse of stone. Above, peaks glow faintly in moonlight, watching clouds drift across their faces. They have seen ice ages come and go, forests bloom and vanish, seas rise and fall, yet they remain calm, breathing once every million years. Let that image hold you, the mountain, the time, the silence. You are part of that same patience, and somewhere deep within, your heart beats in rhythm with the oldest rhythm of all, the steady, enduring stillness of the earth. The earth turns, and the tilt of its axis tilts the light. That simple angle, 23.5 degrees, creates everything we know as rhythm: spring's awakening, summer's warmth, autumn's fading, winter's rest. The seasons are not just change, they are the planet's breathing made visible. Inhale, the world warms, expands and blooms. Exhale, it cools, contracts and sleeps. Each rotation around the sun is a complete heartbeat of the planet, and within that cycle, life finds its pattern. Seeds wait for light, ice waits for thaw, rivers swell, and then return to quiet. Everything that grows does so in response to this pulse, not rushing, not resisting, only following. In spring, the air smells alive, sap rises in trees, insects return, and colours spread like music through the landscape. It is a season of renewal, but also of memory. The same molecules of carbon and water that once nourished ancient forests now awaken new leaves. Nothing is wasted. Everything continues in a new form. The planet is reminding us that beginnings are not sudden. They are slow openings after long rests. Summer arrives like a held breath, long days filled with warmth, the atmosphere shimmering with light. Under the surface, plants transform sunlight into energy, storing it in their roots for the colder months ahead. We too are more awake, more expansive. Our hearts match the sun's rhythm, faster, brighter, alive. Even the oceans breathe deeper then, absorbing heat, stretching their surface into a mirror of sky. Then, as the light begins to fade, the earth exhales into autumn. Leaves let go one by one, releasing their colours like gentle flames. Forests turn gold, rivers darken, animals prepare for sleep. It's not an ending, it's a slowing down, a softer reminder that beauty does not need to last to be complete. Each falling leaf is a quiet acceptance of change, a gesture of peace in letting go. Winter follows with silence. It is the earth's long breath inward, the pause between phrases. Under frozen soil, seeds wait patiently, carrying spring within them. Snow muffles every sound, reflecting starlight in countless tiny crystals. If you listen closely on a winter night, you can hear the stillness itself, not emptiness, but rest. Even in deep cold, the planet is gathering energy, preparing to breathe out again. Scientists can measure the tilt, the orbit, the timing of solstices and equinoxes, but what cannot be measured is the feeling. The human body recognizes these shifts instinctively. Our hormones, sleep cycles, and moods follow the light's ebb and flow. We are built to live within these changes, not apart from them. Our peace, like the planets, comes from rhythm. When you close your eyes tonight, think of that slow turning. The world leaning gently toward the sun, then away again, forever in motion but never lost. Each moment of your life fits within that greater pattern, as natural and as necessary as the passing of seasons. Spring is promise, summer is fullness, autumn is release, winter is rest. And then it all begins again. Everything changes, everything returns, everything flows. Snow does not fall and it drifts. Each flake begins high in the clouds, forming around a single grain of dust or salt, crystallizing in silence as it tumbles through layers of air. By the time it touches the ground, it has become something intricate, unique, and temporary, a work of art that will melt into memory. The world under snow becomes softer, edges blur, sounds fade, and even light seems to slow its pace. It is nature's most delicate hush. When snow begins, the air thickens with stillness. You can hear it, or rather, you can hear what's missing. Footsteps vanish into cotton silence. Wind becomes a whisper instead of a voice. Cities seem to pause, forests hold their breath, and even rivers sound muffled under the weight of white. Scientists say snow absorbs sound because its structure traps vibrations, but it feels like something deeper, as though the world is choosing for a moment to listen instead of speak. Each flake is a six-sided miracle of geometry, sculpted by humidity, temperature, and wind. No two are ever the same, though each follows the same laws of physics. Billions fall, and yet everyone is original. That quiet diversity, order within change, is the essence of peace. The snow teaches us that sameness isn't harmony. Variation is. It is the collective dance of difference that makes the world beautiful. In polar regions, snow never truly disappears. It compacts layer by layer, forming glaciers that move slower than memory. Each layer captures the air of its time, tiny bubbles holding whispers from centuries ago. By studying them, scientists can read the planet's diary. Volcanoes, droughts, ancient winds, even the breath of long-gone forests. Snow, it turns out, is the Earth's archivist, recording peace and storm alike without judgment. And yet, the magic of snow is not in what it preserves, but in how it transforms the moment. When it falls, light itself bends differently, shadows vanish, even night seems brighter. It's as if the sky, descending to meet the ground, decides to make the world a reflection of itself, infinite, clean, and quiet. Have you ever watched snow fall in moonlight? How it seems to hang in the air longer than it should, glimmering between motion and stillness. That's gravity slowed by beauty. That's time taking a deep breath. In many places, people speak of the first snow as a blessing, a renewal, a resetting of the spirit. It covers the scars of the land, reminding us that rest too can be graceful. Under that white blanket, fields sleep, animals burrow, and seeds dream of spring. Snow does not end life, it shelters it. Its cold is not cruelty, it is pause. So as you listen now, imagine snow falling softly outside your window. Each flake spins, drifts, and lands without sound. The ground receives it gently, the air glows faintly blue, and for a little while the entire planet breathes slower. You do not need to control this stillness, Only notice it. Like snow, peace arrives quietly when everything else has fallen away. It covers the noise, cools the rush, and leaves the world, and you, shining in silence. Every river begins as a whisper, a trickle of melted snow, a spring emerging from stone, a drop of rain slipping through moss. At first it moves shyly, gathering others as it goes. Then it grows into a voice, steady, unbroken, patient. The river is memory in motion, carrying pieces of mountains, forests, and clouds through the story of the earth. To watch a river is to watch time flow. It never repeats the same shape, yet it always follows the same path, downward, onward, towards something vast and unseen. Gravity calls it, but the journey is gentle. A river does not rush, it meanders. Even when it seems wild, it is always in balance, adjusting, bending, carving its way through resistance with persistence softer than force. It proves that strength can come from consistency, not speed. Scientists say a river is a system of erosion and renewal. It wears away rock, but also deposits soil where life can grow. It destroys and creates in the same gesture, never choosing one over the other. Over centuries, rivers sculpt valleys, shape deltas, and carry nutrients across continents. They are the veins of the planet, connecting the heart of the mountains to the breath of the sea. But a river also remembers what it has seen. In its sediment there are traces of every era: volcanic ash, pollen from extinct flowers, fragments of ancient civilizations. If you could read those layers, you'd find history not written in ink but in silt. The water that touches your hands today has circled the globe countless times, through storms, glaciers, clouds, and tears. It has no beginning, no end, only flow. There is a reason the sound of a river calms the mind. Its rhythm mirrors our own biology, a pulse, a breath, a sequence of movement and rest. Neuroscientists call it acoustic fractal patterning, repetition without exact sameness, and it soothes the brain, creating a sense of safety. But perhaps we don't need science to explain it. Perhaps we recognize rivers because we are made of them. 70% of the human body is water, moving through invisible streams of its own. We too are flowing systems, finding our way toward balance. In some ancient cultures, rivers were thought to carry souls, guiding them gently to the next world. In others, they were sacred boundaries, the line between chaos and creation. Every mythology, in some way, honors the river, maybe because deep down we understand that the current never ends. It only changes form, like memory, like thought, like life. Stand beside one in your mind now. Hear the soft percussion of water meeting stone. See the sunlight scatter across its surface, each reflection a flicker of time passing. You don't need to hold on to it. It will come back, always. The same water that leaves will one day return as mist, as rain, as river again. Tonight, as you breathe, imagine that motion within you, gentle, continuous, cleansing. Let your worries become leaves drifting downstream. Let your thoughts flow where they will, carried by something older and wiser than yourself. There's no need to chase them, no need to stop them. Just watch them go. Because like the river, you're allowed to move, to release, to remember, and to begin again. Everything the river touches, it softens. Everything it passes, it shapes. And everything it leaves behind still carries its echo, a quiet reminder that peace, too, flows through time and never truly fades. Deep beneath the crust, below the roots of forests and the slow grind of mountains, there lies a world we never see, the molten heart of Earth. It is the origin of warmth, the source of the planet's pulse, a glowing core that turns endlessly beneath our feet. We walk above it each day without knowing, yet it sustains everything we call home. The outermost shell, the crust, is fragile, thin as the skin of an apple compared to the whole. Beneath it, the mantle churns in vast, slow currents of molten rock. and deeper still, at nearly 7,000 kilometers down, the core spins, an inner sphere of iron and nickel hotter than the surface of the sun. This is not chaos. It is order in heat, balance in motion, a quiet engine that keeps the magnetic field alive, that shields the atmosphere, that anchors every compass on Earth. Scientists cannot visit this heart directly. They know it through echoes. Seismic waves from earthquakes ripple through the planet, bending and slowing as they pass through layers of varying density. By reading these patterns, these faint tremors, geophysicists have mapped the unseen world beneath us. It is like listening to the heartbeat of a sleeping giant through the ground. In the outer core, molten metal flows in circles thousands of kilometers wide. These swirling rivers of fire create electric currents, which generate the geomagnetic field, the invisible cocoon that protects our planet from cosmic radiation. Without it, solar winds would strip away the atmosphere, and life as we know it would vanish. This hidden dance of metal and motion keeps us safe every moment, yet we never feel it. Protection born from movement we cannot see. Even the continents owe their existence to this restless core. The slow currents in the mantle push and pull the tectonic plates, guiding them across the surface like drifting rafts. Mountains rise where they collide. Oceans open where they part. From this deep, molten sea comes the landscape of every home, every horizon. The Earth's interior is not separate from its peace. It is the foundation of it. And yet, there is something profoundly gentle about this power. The core's fire doesn't rage. It circulates. Its energy isn't destructive. It's sustaining. Like a steady heartbeat, it never stops, never speeds, never slows. For billions of years, it has kept the same quiet rhythm, radiating warmth outward through rock and soil until it reaches our toes. Even as snow falls, even as oceans freeze, the heat below persists, constant, loyal, alive. If you could close your eyes and listen closely, perhaps you could feel it, a hum beneath silence, a pulse beneath stillness. You're connected to it, always. The iron in your blood once belonged to this same planet's interior. When you rest, when you breathe, you're echoing the very movements of the Earth itself. Contraction and expansion, pressure and release, gravity and grace. So tonight, as you lie still, remember the warmth beneath everything, the steady, glowing center that holds us not in flame but in balance. The Earth's heart has burned through creation and extinction, through storm and calm, through darkness and dawn, and it continues quietly without need for recognition. We're all kept alive by something unseen, something that asks for nothing in return. The planet's hidden heart beats beneath you now, ancient, tireless, tender. Its warmth rises through stone, through soil, through breath, until it reaches you. And if you listen between heartbeats, you might just hear it whisper back. Close your eyes and imagine Earth from space, a luminous sphere swirling with blues, greens, whites, and golds. Each hue tells a story, a soft vibration of life and light. No other planet we've found glows quite like this one. Ours is painted in calmness, a palette mixed by water, air, and sunlight, designed to soothe both eye and mind. Blue, the most abundant colour, comes from the oceans, vast mirrors of the sky that cover nearly 3/4 of the planet. It is the colour of reflection, of depth, of infinity. Psychologists say blue lowers blood pressure and steadies the heartbeat. Perhaps that's why the sight of the sea or the sky always feels like an exhale. Even from orbit, astronauts say the Earth's blue has a quality no photograph can capture. Not cold, not distant, but alive. They often describe a sudden emotion, something close to awe or peace or belonging. They call it the overview effect, the realization that all life shares this delicate sphere of colour. Then there is green, the pulse of forests, grasslands, and moss. Green is the colour of renewal, of photosynthesis, of energy turned into life. It comforts the human eye because we evolve within it. It signals safety, water, nourishment. To look upon green is to see balance, chlorophyll absorbing sunlight, transforming it into breath and sustenance for every living thing. The world's calm is coded into its greens, vibrating at a frequency our nervous systems instinctively recognise as home. White comes from the clouds and the polar caps, the soft brightness of purity and rest. It reflects light back into space, cooling the planet, maintaining its equilibrium. Without white, the earth would burn. It is the colour of pause, of cleansing, of silence. The breath between seasons. When snow covers a landscape, it is not erasure but renewal, the world giving itself a moment to rest. And then there are golds and browns, deserts, soil, and stone, the foundation tones of existence. They remind us of the planet's age, its wisdom. These are the colours of time itself, minerals that have witnessed eras, dust that once drifted through space before forming land. In every grain of sand there is history, in every rock a record of calm endurance. Together these colours form harmony, not by matching but by balancing contrasts. Blue soothes, green sustains, white cleanses, gold grounds. The entire planet, when viewed as one, resembles a living painting, soft, layered, always changing, yet always whole. It's as though Earth understands the psychology of peace better than we do. Its tones slow the pulse, quiet the mind, and remind us that beauty can exist without perfection. It only needs balance. At sunrise the palette shifts. Rays of amber stretch across oceans, pink halos touch clouds, mountains glow in coral light. For a few minutes each morning the world blushes, as if remembering its own warmth. Then, at sunset, the colours deepen, violet shadows, crimson horizons, silver reflections on water. Each shade a transition, a reminder that nothing is static, that peace can move through change like light through glass. If you've ever felt your thoughts soften while watching the horizon fade, it's because your senses are responding to these wavelengths, a silent language older than speech. Colour is vibration, and the planet's vibration is calm. So tonight, picture the earth glowing in its true hues, blue breathing into green, white drifting into gold. Imagine yourself floating just above it, bathed in that quiet spectrum. Let those tones settle through you, like slow light through water. You are part of this colour, made of its minerals, its oceans, its light. When you dream in the palette of your home. And when morning comes, the world will paint itself anew, each hue a reminder that peace, like colour, is always returning. Soft, balanced, infinite. There are places on earth where silence feels endless, where wind is the only voice, and time moves as slowly as shadow. These are the deserts, vast, golden oceans of sand and stone stretching farther than sight, deeper than memory. At first glance they seem empty, but within their stillness lies a calm unlike anywhere else on the planet, a peace born from both absence and endurance. In the desert, every grain of sand tells a story. Each began as part of a mountain, worn down over ages by wind and water, carried across continents, and lay to rest beneath the open sky. The dunes are not fixed. They move like waves, reshaped by every breeze. Their ridges travel quietly, metre by metre, year by year. What looks like emptiness is constant creation, the land in slow, elegant motion. Scientists once placed seismographs deep in desert basins and discovered something astonishing. Even the smallest gust of wind can make the ground hum. The sand vibrates in frequencies too low for human ears, a kind of hidden music, an earthly echo. You might never hear it, but the desert sings continuously, its notes rising from millions of grains shifting together. It is the planet's most subtle song of motion within stillness. Life here survives through quiet intelligence. Seeds lie dormant for decades, waiting for a single rain. Reptiles burrow deep beneath the heat, emerging only when the air cools. Cacti store water in silence, conserving every drop. The desert is not dead. It simply speaks in whispers, its patience unmatched. It teaches that survival doesn't require abundance, only balance and restraint. At night, the desert transforms. Without trees or moisture to block the view, the sky reveals its true scale. A cathedral of stars so vivid it feels close enough to touch. The horizon disappears. The earth and the cosmos blend into one boundless canvas. Astronomers often travel to deserts for this reason. Here, far from human noise, starlight arrives unbroken. In that clarity, one can feel the planet breathing beneath the universe, small yet infinite at once. There is also a strange tenderness to the heat. During the day, sunlight floods every grain, filling the world with gold and mirage. The air trembles, the distant ground ripples like water. Then, as the sun sets, all that heat vanishes into the night, and the temperature drops in minutes. The desert doesn't hold on. It releases everything, every day. It knows how to let go completely. Philosophers and poets have long wandered these lands seeking silence, believing that within emptiness lies truth. The desert strips life down to essentials: light, shadow, wind, sand, and breath. There are no distractions, no clutter, only existence in its purest form. It reminds us that peace isn't always comfort. Sometimes peace is clarity, the kind that comes when all else falls away and only the vast remains. If you close your eyes now, imagine standing there, a horizon in every direction, the air warm and weightless, the sky infinite. You breathe, and the wind answers softly. There is nothing to do, nothing to chase. The desert doesn't demand, it simply is. Let that simplicity settle inside you. You're a grain among grains, moving with the breeze, resting when it stops. Your thoughts drift, reshape, and find stillness again. This is the peace of the desert, not quiet in spite of life, but quiet as life. Vast, enduring, timeless. Every green leaf, every blade of grass, every drop of breath in your lungs exists because of light. Sunlight captured, transformed, and released in silence. This quiet transformation, called photosynthesis, is the soft fire of life. It burns not with heat, but with patience. It is how the earth turns sunlight into sustenance, radiance into rest. When dawn touches a forest canopy or a field of moss, countless tiny reactions begin. Photons, fragments of light that have travelled 93 million miles from the sun, strike pigments inside leaves. Chlorophyll, the green engine of life, awakens. It absorbs the light's energy and begins to rearrange the invisible. Carbon dioxide from air, water from roots, and sunlight itself become sugar, oxygen, and calm. It is a miracle performed billions of times each second, unseen yet essential. The planet breathes because plants have learned to eat light. The process is ancient. Before plants, early microbes floating in ancient seas discovered this secret: how to borrow energy from the sun without burning. They began releasing oxygen, slowly changing the chemistry of the world. Over millions of years, that invisible work filled the sky with breath. From this, every creature emerged, every wing, fin, and lung tracing its lineage back to the quiet alchemy of light and leaf. Photosynthesis is not violent. It is a lesson in harmony. The sunlight that could destroy is softened, diffused, turned to nourishment. A single tree absorbs thousands of rays each day and never once becomes frantic. It channels brilliance into balance. The light enters, the air flows, the sugars form, and the cycle continues. No waste, no hurry, no exhaustion. It is the perfect model of peaceful energy. Scientists can measure its equations, but the poetry lives in its rhythm. Every breath you take right now contains oxygen made by this process. Molecules once inside the lungs of forests, coral reefs, or a patch of grass beside a forgotten road. In this way, every inhale is communion. You're borrowing the forest's exhale, and the forest, in turn, depends on yours. Each breath is part of a planetary conversation older than words. If you've ever stood beneath sunlight filtering through leaves, you've felt this dialogue in motion. The light dapples your skin, softened by chlorophyll's green. The air feels charged, clean, alive. Your body responds instinctively. Slower heart rate, deeper breath, a sense of belonging. You're standing inside the planet's living engine, surrounded by the soft fire that sustains it all. Even at night, the process doesn't end completely. Plants shift their chemistry, resting, preparing to begin again at dawn. When morning comes, they open, catching the first rays as though greeting an old friend. There is no greed, no rush, only renewal. The sun gives, the earth transforms, life continues. So tonight, imagine the world glowing gently with this invisible fire. Every forest, every garden, every blade of seaweed beneath the ocean surface, all pulsing in quiet synchronicity with the sun. Light travels through leaves, becomes sugar, becomes energy, becomes you. The warmth in your chest, the calm in your breath. Both are echoes of that same radiance transformed. The sun burns fiercely, but the earth turns it into grace. That is the secret of life's peace, to take what is immense and turn it into something gentle. Beneath the surface of every forest, ocean and plain, there is a harmony, a quiet network of lives woven together, each supporting and balancing the other. We often imagine nature as a competition, a struggle for survival. But the truth is far gentler. Life endures not through conflict, but through connection. In a single spoonful of soil, there may be more living organisms than there are humans on Earth. Millions of bacteria, fungi, and tiny creatures, each performing their part in the great rhythm of existence. They decompose fallen leaves, release nutrients, feed roots, and in turn are fed upon by others. It is not chaos. It is choreography. The forest breathes through this invisible orchestra, each species playing its quiet note in balance with the rest. In coral reefs, harmony takes colour. Fish and algae live in mutual exchange, sharing shelter and sustenance. Reefs glow with the pigments of cooperation, blues, reds and golds shining beneath the sea. Every hue represents a pact, a pattern of life that thrives through giving and receiving. The coral offers a home, the algae offer food. Together they build a world that supports thousands more. Even predators, so often misunderstood, are part of this calm design. Wolves keep deer from overgrazing the forests, ensuring new growth and water balance. Sharks prune the sick and the weak, keeping the ocean's cycles pure. The system is not cruel, it is complete. Every act, even those that seem harsh, feeds renewal. Nature's peace is not the absence of death, but the continuity of life. Scientists call this interconnectedness the web of life. But that phrase hardly captures its beauty. It's not a web that traps, it's a net that holds. Every thread strengthens the others. When one breaks, the rest stretch to carry the weight. That is how the planet endures. Humans too are part of this design. Every breath you take returns carbon to the air, which plants then turn into food and oxygen. The heat of your body rises, joining the atmosphere. The water you drink flows back into rivers. Even your thoughts, Your quiet moments of wonder come from energy transformed through these same cycles. You're not an observer of nature. You're one of its expressions. Your body is an ecosystem, home to trillions of microorganisms that keep you alive. You are, in every sense, a living landscape. When you walk through a field, you're walking through kinship, grasses exchanging messages through roots, insects weaving pollination through flowers, birds spreading seeds through flight. The air hums with communication too subtle for human ears. Every sound, every colour, every motion exists in response to another. Nothing stands alone. This is the true meaning of balance. Each species giving just enough, taking just enough, moving within the rhythm that keeps the whole alive. Even when storms strike or droughts come, nature restores itself, not by fighting, but by yielding, adapting, finding new patterns. It's a form of wisdom written into every cell. If you sit quietly and imagine this network, you can almost feel it. The pulse of coexistence extending outward from you in every direction. The forest breathing with you. The oceans dreaming with you. The wind carrying your exhale to a leaf waiting miles away. You're not small within this web. You're necessary. So tonight, let that realization settle gently within you. The world is not divided between species. It is united through flow. The same harmony that guides bees to flowers and rivers to the sea is within your heartbeat now. It asks for nothing but awareness. To live in peace with the earth is to remember you were never separate from it. The harmony of species is the planet's quiet song of gratitude, a symphony without conductor, where every note, every breath, plays its part in eternity. There is a wisdom in the world so patient, so subtle, that we rarely notice it working, the wisdom of evolution. It moves at the speed of millennia, sculpting wings from fins, forests from oceans, and eyes from darkness. It is the art of time itself, a genius that creates not through command, but through persistence. Every living thing you've ever seen, every bird, every flower, every heartbeat, is part of this long, slow unfolding. Nothing appeared suddenly. Everything learned, adapted, adjusted, generation after generation, shaping itself to fit the rhythms of the planet. Evolution is not a story of dominance, but of harmony. Life finding ways to coexist with change. Scientists describe it in terms of mutation, selection, adaptation. Yet beyond the data, there is poetry. Imagine a butterfly's wing. Patterns so intricate they could have been painted. Each hue, each spot, each fold is the memory of survival written in colour. Or think of a whale song, deep, resonant, echoing through miles of ocean. Its ancestors once walked on land. Now it carries the song of both sea and shore in its voice. That is evolution's quiet genius, the ability to remember and transform at the same time. It doesn't rush, it doesn't erase, it refines. Every success, every failure, every extinction has shaped what remains. Even your own hands, the way your thumb meets your palm, are the result of a billion small decisions made by nature across eons. When you reach for something, you are completing a motion that began in the fins of ancient fish. You are living history made flesh. In the fossil record, scientists read this story like a diary written in stone. They find shells turned to marble, feathers preserved in amber, bones holding the echo of muscle and motion. Each discovery reminds us that the line between what was and what is has never been broken. We are not the end of evolution, we are its continuation. The same forces shaping coral reefs and pine trees are shaping us still, gently, invisibly, through every breath and every birth. And what drives this grand process? Not ambition, not competition, but adaptation. A humble willingness to adjust, to fit, to flow. When the environment shifts, life does not panic, it learns. When the world cools, fur grows thicker. When the world warms, seeds spread farther. When darkness deepens, eyes grow larger. There is no resentment in this, only acceptance and creativity. Peace in nature is not stagnation. It is movement in harmony with circumstance. In that sense, evolution and meditation are the same practice. Both require stillness over time. Both reshape without force. Both turn change into understanding. The caterpillar does not fight the cocoon. The seed does not resist the soil. They surrender, and through surrender, they transform. We often think of intelligence as conscious thought, but evolution shows another kind of intelligence, the quiet genius of response, the ability to become what the world needs without losing what you are. It is creativity written into the fabric of life, billions of years old, still unfolding within you now. So tonight, as you rest, think of that ancient patience working in every cell. Your heartbeat, your breath, your very existence are part of the same slow masterpiece that shaped mountains and stars. You are evolution, resting for a moment before continuing the story. And when you wake, the world will keep shaping itself, softly, wisely, endlessly. The quiet genius of life does not demand to be noticed. It simply continues, flowing forward, becoming. If you look closely enough, the universe repeats itself. The veins of a leaf resemble the branches of a river. The spiral of a shell mirrors the swirl of a galaxy. The lightning bolt that splits the sky follows the same geometry as roots spreading underground. Patterns connect everything, small to vast, visible to unseen, each one a quiet signature of order written across chaos. Scientists call these repeating designs fractals. They are shapes that echo themselves at every scale. Infinite recursion, beauty through repetition. A fern's fronds unfurl in perfect self-similarity. Each small leaf is a mirror of the whole. Clouds form in fractal turbulence. Mountains rise in fractal ridges. And even the rhythms of your heartbeat trace fractal timing. It's as if the universe speaks one language, and everything from atoms to galaxies understands it. This patterning is not only mathematical, it is emotional. When we look at nature's symmetry, our minds quiet. Our brains are wired to find comfort in patterns. They create predictability, rhythm, and peace. When you gaze at ocean waves rolling to shore or watch the flicker of firelight, your neurons synchronize to the movement. This synchronization, called entrainment, slows the pulse, steadies breathing, and creates the physical feeling of calm. It's the same effect found in lullabies, rainfall, and heartbeat. Nature is a vast pattern generator, and our bodies are designed to tune to its flow. Beyond shapes, there are patterns of behavior too. The way flocks of birds turn in unison without colliding, or how schools of fish glide like liquid mirrors, is a phenomenon scientists call emergence. Each individual follows simple rules: keep distance, match speed, stay close. And yet, the whole becomes art. No leader commands it. No voice directs it. The beauty arises naturally from connection. In that effortless cooperation, the planet shows us what harmony truly means. Even the human mind, when left to rest, begins to wander in fractals. Our thoughts spiral, loop, and branch, moving outward in patterns of association. Creativity itself is a kind of living geometry. Thoughts feeding into one another like vines growing toward the light. When we stop trying to control the pattern, it reveals itself, coherent, graceful, alive. Ancient civilizations noticed these same shapes and rhythms long before modern science could measure them. They carved spirals into stones, mirrored golden ratios in temples, and wove repeating motifs into art and fabric. Intuitively, they understood that to live in peace with the world is to echo its forms, to build and breathe in harmony with its hidden mathematics. Even in prayer or meditation, the repetition of mantra or breath is a human reflection of natural fractal rhythm, motion returning to stillness, stillness unfolding back into motion. If you stand beneath a tree and look upward, you're surrounded by the geometry of calm. Branches divide and divide again, each split smaller yet perfectly proportional, sunlight filtering through in dappled golden fractals. That same branching structure exists in your lungs, your veins, your neurons. You're not separate from the pattern, you're the pattern, folded into the planet's design. When we recognize these hidden echoes, something inside us exhales. We stop searching for meaning and instead see it everywhere, in clouds, in water, in ourselves. The universe is not random, it is rhythmical. Every wave, every leaf, every breath follows a pulse older than time. And within that pulse, nothing truly ends. It only reshapes, repeating softly, infinitely, beautifully. So tonight, imagine those patterns surrounding you. Spirals in the stars, branches in your breath, ripples of light crossing the skin of the world. Everything repeating, everything connected, everything flowing. You're both the design and the designer, part of the infinite art of calm creation. And as you drift, let that realization settle deep within. Peace is not stillness, peace is pattern. Repetition with grace, chaos woven into order, life folding back into itself, over and over, forever. Every day, light speaks, not in words, but in warmth, in colour, in the way it touches everything and makes it visible. It begins far away, at the heart of the sun, where atoms fuse and release energy older than life itself. That energy travels across space for 8 minutes before finding us, before sliding through the thin veil of atmosphere and becoming morning. When sunlight reaches the earth, it doesn't simply illuminate, it communicates. It tells the world it's time to wake, to grow, to live. Each sunrise is a message written in photons. Plants read it through their leaves, oceans through their shifting surfaces, animals through the subtle changes of temperature and hue. Even your body listens. Inside your eyes, light triggers chemical cascades that guide your circadian rhythm, the inner clock that tells you when to rest and when to rise. You are, in a very real way, fluent in the language of light. Your heartbeat, your hormones, your dreams, all respond to its rhythm. Without it, time would dissolve. But light doesn't just move across the surface of things, it moves through them. It filters through clouds and leaves, scattering into shades that calm the human mind. Soft greens, amber golds, the violet of dusk. It refracts through raindrops, forming rainbows that remind us of unity within diversity. A single beam unfolding into 7 tones of peace. It bends through air thick with mist, forming halos around the moon, or glows through waves to paint underwater worlds in shifting blues. Everywhere it goes, it writes silence and colour. There are deeper forms of this language too, hidden from our eyes. In the deep ocean, creatures glow with bioluminescence. Blue and green flickers pulsing through the dark like living stars. Some fish use light to find one another, some to vanish, some to sing. Their flashes and waves are communication, patterns of connection in the absence of sound. Far above, in polar skies, the same language appears in grander form, auroras, rivers of light that dance in silence. They are the Earth's way of speaking back to the sun, a luminous dialogue between magnetism and space. Scientists measure light in wavelengths, in nanometers, in joules. But its meaning is not confined to physics. Light is the original storyteller. Every photon carries a fragment of time, a record of where it's been. When you gaze at the stars, you're seeing ancient light, some of it millions of years old. That glow is history arriving at your eyes, the past shining into the present. In that sense, to look at the night sky is to read a letter written before humanity began. Even darkness is part of this language. It isn't the absence of light, but the space that gives light meaning. Without shadow, there can be no depth, no shape, no rest for the eyes. The Earth understands this, alternating day and night like inhale and exhale, brilliance and stillness. Each complements the other. Light reveals, darkness restores. Peace lives between them, the twilight, the candle's edge, the soft glow that neither blinds nor hides. If you close your eyes now, you'll still see traces of light dancing beneath your lids. Faint colours, quiet shapes. That's your mind remembering illumination. Light never truly leaves. It lingers as warmth, as memory, as comfort. When you wake tomorrow and the first rays touch your skin, remember, that light has travelled across the void just to reach you. It carries the same energy that fed forests, fired oceans, and lit the birth of life itself. You're not just a witness to light, you're made of it. The photons absorbed by your body become part of your chemistry, your motion, your thought. You are, in a quiet way, sunlight dreaming of itself. So tonight, let that truth rest in you. The earth glows because light loves it, and you glow because light lives in you. Every breath, every thought, every spark of wonder. It's all part of the same radiant conversation. If the earth has a memory, it is written in water. The ocean holds every story the planet has ever told. The births of continents, the falls of rain, the traces of every creature that has ever lived and drifted away. It is a memory not bound to time, but to motion, constantly reshaping itself while never forgetting what it has carried. Every current is a thought, every wave a sentence, every tide a heartbeat. Together they form the ocean's consciousness, slow, deep, and eternal. Scientists can trace its great circulations, like the thermohaline conveyor belt, which moves water through the entire planet. Warm currents rise, cold ones sink, salt and temperature guiding their invisible choreography. One complete journey can take more than 1,000 years. Imagine that. The same water that touches a polar glacier today might not resurface until it returns as tropical rain in another millennium. Such is the patience of the sea. The ocean keeps the earth alive in more ways than one. It regulates climate, absorbs sunlight, carries heat from the equator to the poles, and pulls carbon from the sky into its depths. It feeds clouds, carves coasts, and writes the rhythm of life through tides. Every breeze, every rainfall, every calm morning is shaped by the unseen work of the ocean below. It is the planet's silent architect, always creating, never resting. But beyond science, there is a deeper poetry to it. The sea has moods, calm, fierce, reflective, still, and within each, it mirrors something within us. Perhaps that is why humans have always been drawn to its edge. We go to the shore not just to see the water, but to feel the scale of it, to remember that we too are part of something vast and fluid. The rhythm of waves matches the rhythm of the heart. The tide's slow rise and fall mirrors our breath. We belong to this pattern because we came from it. Life began in the ocean, billions of years ago. Tiny cells floated in its saline cradle, dividing and evolving into creatures that crawled onto land. Even now our blood carries the same ratio of salt as the sea. We are, in a sense, walking oceans, small reflections of the larger whole. When we return to the shore, it is not a visit, it is a homecoming. In its depths, the ocean holds memories we may never see. Sunken forests, ancient ships, the bones of whales, all preserved in darkness, yet even the deepest trench is not silence. Sound travels far underwater, bending and echoing across thousands of miles. Whales sing through these corridors, their calls like music carved in liquid air. Those songs can linger for hours, sometimes days, long after the singer is gone, the ocean remembering the voice that passed through it. If you listen closely, standing by the sea, you might hear that echo, not with your ears, but with something older inside you. The ocean hums in frequencies too low to detect, yet your body feels them. They slow your pulse, deepen your breath, and quiet your thoughts. This is not coincidence. It is resonance, the body remembering the water it came from. When waves meet the shore, they break not in destruction, but in renewal. Each crash is an ending that becomes a beginning, foam dissolving back into the current. That is how the ocean keeps time, endlessly erasing itself, endlessly writing again. It is the same process that happens in your mind when you let go of thought, when you allow one idea to fade and another to rise. That too is the tide of being. So tonight, imagine yourself standing on a moonlit beach. The air is cool, the horizon wide, the water endless. Each wave carries the memory of all before it, billions of ripples merging into one quiet breath. Let that rhythm carry you, steady and deep. You're not standing beside the ocean. You are the ocean, ancient, remembering, flowing still. Far beneath the shimmering surface, beyond where sunlight fades into blue, lies another world, vast, dark, and hushed. It is a realm of eternal twilight, where time slows, sound deepens, and life moves in rhythms as calm as dreams. Scientists call it the abyssal zone. Poets might call it the Earth's sleep. Down there, light disappears completely by a depth of 1 kilometre. The water grows cold, dense, and still. Yet in this seeming silence life flourishes, delicate, patient, and strange. Creatures drift like ghosts through the blackness, glowing with soft bioluminescent halos. Their lights pulse gently, like lanterns carried through fog. Some use them to find one another, others simply to exist, to add a shimmer of beauty to the endless dark. If peace could be alive, it would look like this: movement without noise, light without flame. At these depths, pressure is immense, hundreds of times stronger than the air at the surface, but life here has adapted, not by resisting, but by yielding. Flesh becomes flexible, bones thin, movement slow. Nothing struggles. Everything adjusts. It is the ultimate expression of calm, thriving through surrender. The creatures of the deep teach us that to survive in darkness, one must learn softness. Even sound behaves differently here. Waves, ships, storms, all vanish above. Instead, the sea hums with low but vibrations, carrying the faint echoes of faraway earthquakes, whale songs, and the murmurs of shifting tectonic plates. These tones are so deep that they border on silence, the planet's lullaby echoing through water and time. If you could hear it, it would not frighten you. It would comfort you, the way a heartbeat comforts an unborn child. Sediment drifts gently downward, layer upon layer, settling into quiet history. Here lie the remains of microscopic organisms that once floated in sunlight, tiny skeletons now blanketing the seafloor like snow. Over millions of years they form chalk, limestone, and the bedrock of continents. Even in the ocean's sleep, the work of creation continues. Nothing truly ends. It only sinks, rests, and transforms. The temperature near the bottom stays just above freezing, yet warmth rises from below. The planet's inner heat seeping softly through cracks in the crust. There, hydrothermal vents breathe plumes of minerals into the dark. Around them gather communities of life. Blind shrimp, glowing worms, unseen bacteria, all sustained by chemistry instead of sunlight. It is a reminder that even in the deepest night, the earth finds ways to create light. The deep ocean is not empty. It is full of waiting, of stillness so profound that it becomes peace itself. Every current that moves up above is born here. Every tide begins its long cycle in this quiet bed. The ocean dreams in the dark, and through those dreams, the world remains alive. If you close your eyes now, imagine descending slowly through the layers, from the bright ripples at the surface to the deep blue calm, then darker still until no colour remains. There, you're surrounded by nothing but silence and pulse. No boundaries, no edges, only the soft sway of invisible currents. It feels not like falling, but floating, weightless, timeless, safe. That is the deep sleep of the sea, a sleep without fear, without thought, without end. When you rest tonight, you're entering your own ocean, sinking beneath waves of noise into a place where everything slows, where warmth and darkness coexist, where even the heart learns to whisper, and in that depth, you will find what the earth has always known, that rest is not stillness, but motion slowed to peace. At the very edges of the earth, where the sun sometimes refuses to rise, the world enters its most sacred hush. The poles, north and south, are mirrors of stillness, places where light and shadow linger for months, where time itself seems to hold its breath. Here, peace is not a mood, it is the air itself. The Arctic and Antarctic are both frozen seas surrounded by silence, and yet, within their frozen vastness, everything flows in slow, deliberate rhythm. Snow drifts in spirals that take hours to fall. Ice sheets creak softly, expanding and contracting with the planet's temperature. Even the wind moves differently here, not as noise, but as a long sigh that seems to pass through centuries. To stand in these regions is to witness the earth at its purest tempo. No trees sway, no rivers run, only the faint hum of distant ice cracking, the whisper of snow sliding over snow. Sound travels farther in the cold, so even the smallest movement, a bird's wing, a drop of melting ice, carries like a note in an empty cathedral. This is the symphony of stillness, vast, slow, and reverent. Scientists call the poles the planet's lungs. When polar ice grows, it locks away carbon and cools the world. When it melts, it releases that breath again, regulating the climate in a rhythm that has lasted for millions of years. Each glacier is a heartbeat, expanding and contracting across epochs. Each flake of snow falling from a polar sky is part of the same long exhale that balances the warmth of the equator. And within this frozen quiet, life endures, not in abundance, but in grace. Penguins huddle together through months of night, sharing heat and patience. Whales migrate thousands of kilometers to feed in these cold, nutrient-rich waters. Tiny algae bloom beneath the ice, feeding everything above them. Even in what seems barren, existence continues, not loudly, but faithfully. It is proof that peace and persistence are the same thing in different guises. At certain times of the year, the sun vanishes completely, and darkness becomes unbroken for weeks. Then, when it returns, it does so with ceremony, circling the horizon in gold and pink, never fully setting, never fully rising. This endless twilight paints the snow in colours you can't quite name: lavender, rose, silver blue. Light in the poles does not flood, it caresses. It reminds us that illumination does not need to be bright to be beautiful. Scientists studying the poles often speak of an almost spiritual quiet, a kind of presence in the absence of sound. They describe it as hearing the heartbeat of the planet, not through ears, but through the body. You feel the cold settle into you, not harshly, but truthfully. You become aware of your own breath, your own warmth, your own smallness beneath an endless white sky. In that awareness, something deep relaxes. You understand that you do not need to fill silence for it to mean something. You only need to listen. If you imagine it now, the frozen plains, the soft glow of moonlight on ice, the faint hum of wind, you can feel that stillness expanding within you. Each inhale draws in the crisp air of polar calm. Each exhale releases the noise of daily life. For a moment you are there, part of a landscape untouched by hurry, untouched by need. The silence of the poles is not emptiness. It is the fullness of rest, stretched across the face of the world. It is the sound of the planet asleep and the sound of peace at its purest. Cold, endless, and quietly alive. All around us, though we cannot see it, the earth is wrapped in an invisible field, a soft, protective cocoon of magnetism that hums quietly through the air. It begins deep within the molten core, where liquid iron and nickel swirl in endless motion. That motion generates electricity, and electricity gives rise to magnetism, an unseen flow of energy that extends far into space, shaping the very atmosphere of safety we live within. This invisible embrace is called the magnetosphere. It shields us from cosmic winds, streams of charged particles racing from the sun at unimaginable speeds. Without it, those solar winds would strip away our atmosphere, scatter oceans, and turn the surface barren. Instead, they meet this field like waves meeting a soft barrier, bending, flowing, glancing away. From this invisible defence comes one of the most visible wonders of Earth, the aurora. When charged particles slip along magnetic lines toward the poles, they collide with the upper atmosphere, igniting the sky in curtains of green, violet, and crimson light. Each flicker is a conversation between the sun and the earth. Energy offered, energy returned. The auroras are not just beauty. They are the visible heartbeat of the planet's shield, a luminous dance that tells us the Earth is alive, awake, and still protecting us. Imagine those ribbons of colour moving slowly across the night sky, their shapes shifting like breath, their light so quiet you could almost hear it if listening were more than sound. For centuries, humans watched these lights and gave them names: spirits, fires, bridges between worlds. They didn't know the physics, but they understood the feeling: awe, comfort, connection. The same field that guards the planet stirs the imagination, reminding us that science and wonder are not opposites. They are reflections of the same mystery. If you could see magnetism itself, you would notice it everywhere. Every compass needle that finds north, every bird that migrates, every whale that crosses the open ocean follows it. These creatures are tuned to the planet's pulse, navigating through fields we cannot feel. Even within your body, tiny amounts of iron align faintly with this field, the same element found in the core, echoing deep earth within your blood. You are literally connected to the planet's magnetic rhythm. The same current that guides the aurora guides your inner compass. Scientists sometimes describe this field as Earth's voice in space. It extends thousands of kilometers beyond the surface, shaping how the solar wind flows, protecting satellites, cradling our weather systems. If the magnetosphere could be heard, it would sound like low, undulating waves, steady, ancient, reassuring. A hum so deep it resembles silence, yet fills the emptiness with warmth. When strong solar storms strike, the field bends but never breaks. It flexes, absorbs, and returns to balance, much like our own hearts do under pressure. In that resilience, the planet mirrors us: calm strength, quiet protection, the ability to endure without resistance. So tonight, as you rest beneath this unseen shield, remember what holds you safe. Every breath, every moment, every night's peace happens beneath the protection of forces too vast for the eye to see. The same field that guards oceans and forests is wrapped around you now, soft as air, strong as gravity. You are cocooned in the planet's embrace, carried through the solar wind by a living magnetic pulse. Outside, the auroras shimmer over the poles, green rivers of light folding and unfolding in perfect silence. They are the Earth's lullaby to the cosmos, a reminder that even in the storm there is beauty in balance and peace in protection unseen. Beyond the blue sky and the faint glow of our atmosphere, space stretches in silence, Yet it is not empty. It breathes, slowly and endlessly, like the earth itself. Every dust grain, every atom, every drifting molecule between the stars carries memory, the residue of creation, the exhale of suns. We call it the interstellar medium, but perhaps it is better understood as the universe's quiet respiration. When a star dies, it releases its elements into the void: carbon, oxygen, iron, gold, the materials that will one day become planets, oceans, or hearts. Those particles drift for ages, gathering, colliding, forming clouds light years wide. From those clouds, new stars are born, and around those stars, new worlds take shape. Even now, Earth is part of that same circulation. Matter leaving, matter returning, nothing lost, everything transformed. The universe breathes in creation and breathes out life. Astronomers once thought space was silent, but when they began to measure its radio waves, they found it vibrates faintly at all times. A background hum, billions of years old, the echo of the Big Bang itself. That faint sound, stretched by time, still ripples through everything that exists. You are surrounded by it now, even as you rest. Cosmic breath, passing through you like wind through grass. The atoms in your lungs vibrate in tune with those ancient waves. When you inhale, you are, in a way, inhaling the past. The air you breathe has crossed vast distances in different forms. It was once trapped in stone, dissolved in oceans, carried in clouds, exhaled by forests, and long before that its atoms were forged in the heart of stars. The oxygen entering your blood tonight began its journey in a sun that exploded long before Earth was born. You're literally breathing stardust, the quiet remains of light. If you step outside on a clear night, look upward and imagine the invisible currents flowing through that darkness. Hydrogen clouds stretching like rivers between constellations, filaments of dust connecting galaxies, photons travelling across eons to reach your eyes. The void is not absence, it is connection. It links everything that has ever existed in one vast silent exhale. And the earth, floating in that breath, joins the rhythm perfectly. Our atmosphere expands and contracts with solar winds. Tides move in harmony with the moon. Light and magnetism weave through the sky. We are not isolated, we are breathing with the stars. Every gust of wind, every ocean current, every pulse of air through your lungs is part of a cosmic respiration millions of years in motion. Astronomers call one of the largest structures in the universe the cosmic web, an immense network of galaxies connected by invisible threads of gas and gravity. From far away it looks like a living organism, glowing nodes, branching filaments, flowing energy. The same structure appears in the neurons of the human brain, in lightning, in the roots of trees. It is the shape of breath itself, expanding, connecting, returning. In meditation, when you focus on the breath, you're participating in that universal act, the exchange between energy and stillness. The inhale is gravity pulling inward. The exhale is expansion, release. Every breath is a miniature echo of the universe's first movement, the moment light began to spread. So tonight, as you breathe slowly, imagine the stars breathing with you. Their light reaches you not as distance, but as kinship. The air in your chest once burned in a star's heart. The carbon in your bones once floated between galaxies. You are not under the cosmos, you're within it. Each breath connects you to everything that has ever shone, drifted, or dreamed. This is the breath between stars, ancient, endless, the quiet pulse of creation still unfolding through you. There is a kind of memory that does not speak, yet endures longer than any word. The memory of stone. Mountains crumble, rivers shift, civilizations rise and vanish, but the rocks remain, keeping silent watch. They do not rush to change. They allow time to pass through them. Each carries the record of the Earth's story, the deep, slow chronicle of becoming. Pick up a pebble and hold it in your hand, and you are holding millions of years. That small, unassuming shape has travelled farther and waited longer than you can imagine. It was once molten fire, then cooled into crystal, then buried, fractured, lifted, and carried by wind or wave until it became what it is now. Smooth, quiet, complete. Every edge of that stone was shaped not by force, but by repetition. A single drop of rain cannot carve granite, but a million gentle drops can transform mountains. That is the way of the planet. Steady change, patient artistry. Scientists who study rocks, geologists, read them like pages in an ancient diary. They see within their layers the chemistry of old oceans, the fingerprints of vanished volcanoes, even the magnetic orientation of the Earth as it was when the stone first cooled. Every mineral, every crystal lattice is a record of conditions long gone. The Earth, in this sense, keeps its memories in stone the way we keep ours in dreams, fragments, patterns, traces of feeling. Deep beneath the continents lie metamorphic rocks, created when pressure and heat rewrite their structure without destroying them. What once was shale becomes slate, limestone transforms into marble, the atoms rearrange, yet the essence remains. Transformation without loss. The same happens within us. We are shaped by pressure too. We're changed by time, by experience, by the slow movement of living. And yet something core remains untouched, shining quietly beneath the surface. In that way, we are not so different from stone. There is peace in their endurance. Where we measure life in years, stones measure it in eras. Where we see decay, they see motion. To them, erosion is not destruction. It is continuation. Even when shattered, each fragment begins another story. A mountain becomes sand, and that sand, under enough pressure and patience, becomes rock again. Everything returns, everything persists. In deserts, stones hum softly under the day's heat, expanding and contracting with the sun. In rivers they roll slowly, smoothing one another. In caves they grow like living things, drop by drop, forming pillars of calcite that take thousands of years to complete a single shape. The world moves through stone the way breath moves through lungs, rhythmically, endlessly, without awareness of time. Ancient cultures built monuments from these same materials, not only for strength, but for remembrance. Stone outlives story. Temples, circles, carvings, all were attempts to speak in the earth's own language, to leave a mark that could endure its weather and silence. Even as those structures crumble, the stones remain faithful to gravity, resting exactly where they fall. Their stillness teaches humility. To last, one must learn to yield. If you sit quietly among rocks, on a mountainside, by a river, or even holding a small one in your palm, you might sense their calm. They do not demand attention. They ask nothing. They exist fully in the present moment. Their peace is not passive. It is infinite patience made visible. Tonight, imagine yourself becoming like stone. Your thoughts slow. Your breath deepens. Your body warms gently as if the planet's own heat were within you. The rush of time softens, the noise of the world fades. You are part of something older, heavier, and kinder than hurry. Like the stone, you're being reshaped quietly, day by day, into something smoother, wiser, and more whole. And if the wind whispers as you drift to sleep, listen closely. It is the voice of the earth turning another page, writing softly in the language of stones. Long before our kind walked upon it, the earth was already ancient, a living, breathing world shaped by fire, water, and silence. There were no voices, no footsteps, no stories yet told, only wind, waves, and light. The pure conversation of elements. It was a time when everything moved without witness, and still, it was beautiful. The early Earth was not the calm planet we know now. Its skies glowed orange and violet with volcanic haze. Its oceans boiled and cooled in endless cycles. Lightning struck over black waves, forming the first molecules of life, tiny, fragile sparks that would one day dream, speak, and build. Those beginnings were humble, invisible, and yet in them was the seed of everything that would come. Every breath, every thought, every song began in that silent chemistry. As time unfolded, continents drifted apart like slow thoughts forming. Mountains rose and eroded. The planet learned balance. The air cleared, the seas deepened, and sunlight finally reached through the clouds to kiss the water's surface. In that golden warmth, the first cells began to divide. Small, patient, and persistent. There were no eyes to see them, no minds to marvel, but the world was already awake. It took billions of years for those single cells to join, to specialize, to evolve into creatures that swam, crawled, and flew. Each one was an experiment in endurance, nature testing new shapes, new ways to move, to feed, to live. There was no rush, only rhythm. Each adaptation was a whisper in the great unfolding, a quiet step toward awareness. Imagine it now, an ocean untouched by time, glowing faintly with algae beneath a soft red sky. The waves moved slowly, heavy with minerals, their surfaces steaming in the newborn heat. No cities, no machines, no names, only the deep sound of water against rock. That sound has never stopped. It is the oldest lullaby on the planet. The first forests came later, rising from swamps and spreading green across the land. Trees exhaled oxygen into the air, reshaping the atmosphere, allowing breath to exist. The earth began to sing through wind in leaves, rain on canopies, thunder rolling over valleys. The planet's peace was not the absence of activity, but the balance of constant motion, the same harmony we still live within today. Dinosaurs ruled for an age massive and magnificent, until they too passed into memory, leaving room for smaller beings, for mammals, for curiosity. Even their disappearance was not loss, but transformation. Every extinction became the soil for something new. Every ending prepared the way for another beginning. This has always been the law of the planet. Renewal through surrender, growth through change. And then, in one quiet moment of cosmic time, we arrived. The descendants of stardust, of oceans, of forests, of silence. We came not as masters, but as listeners, fragile, wondering, looking upward toward the stars from which we came. For a brief instant in the long memory of Earth, we opened our eyes and asked, what is all this? The time before us was not empty. It was preparation. The world built its calm through patience, through endless cycles of chaos turned to order. Every storm it survived became balance. Every fire it cooled became soil. And when we finally appeared, the planet had already written the conditions of peace into its very air. When you lie down to sleep, you're lying upon 4.5 billion years of memory. The rock beneath you was once molten. The air you breathe once trapped in stone. The water in your body once part of ancient seas. The time before us is not gone. It flows through us still. So let that awareness settle over you like dusk. You're not separate from the Earth's history. You are its continuation. The calm you feel tonight was earned through eons of transformation. It is the echo of the planet's first breath, still moving softly through the silence, waiting to remind you that even before life had a name, peace was already here. And then came us, brief sparks in the long night of the Earth's story, yet bright enough to leave traces everywhere we walk. We arrived not suddenly, but gradually, shaped by the same slow patience that carved mountains and deepened seas. We were moulded by river valleys, by the warmth of firelight, by the rhythm of seasons. We learned to listen before we spoke. Our ancestors lived in rhythm with the world because they had no other choice. They rose with dawn, rested with dusk, hunted when the herds moved, planted when the rains came. They studied the stars not to conquer them, but to remember time, to track when the earth would breathe again through spring or storm. To them, the planet was not a backdrop. It was a companion, a teacher, a presence alive with spirit. They gave names to the wind, to the rivers, to the trees. They understood that survival depended not on dominance, but on respect. Firelight flickered on cave walls, and in that glow the first stories were born, the earliest reflections of curiosity, wonder, and gratitude. They painted animals, skies, and constellations, not to decorate, but to connect, to remind themselves that they were part of something larger, something ancient. The rhythm of their drums echoed the heartbeat of the earth. The smoke of their fires curled upward like prayers made visible. Even then, before words like science or faith, humanity understood that peace could only exist within harmony. As time flowed, we learned to build, to shape stone, metal, and meaning. We grew gardens, built villages, then cities. We discovered music, mathematics, poetry, medicine, all the ways of translating nature's patterns into human form. Our civilizations rose like waves and fell again, leaving behind ruins that still hum faintly with memory. In our striving, we reached for the stars, perhaps remembering that we were made of them, and yet in all our progress the earth remained our quiet companion, patient, forgiving, waiting. Even when we forgot her rhythm, she continued hers. The tide still moved, forests still breathed, rain still fell. The world does not punish, it reminds. It whispers balance through drought and flood, through winter and bloom. It teaches by repeating what we forget. We are capable of creating beauty unlike anything else, a song that can move the air, a telescope that can touch galaxies, a kindness that can heal. We are also capable of harm, of taking more than we need, of building faster than the soil can rest. But even in our imbalance, the earth does not close its heart. It offers renewal each morning, a chance to remember, to return. The lesson has always been the same. Everything thrives when it moves in rhythm with everything else. Modern life moves faster than the rivers that once taught us patience. We fill our days with motion, forgetting that stillness is also an act of creation. But when we pause, when we step outside and feel the wind or look up at the night sky, the memory returns, the air on our skin, the gravity beneath our feet, the faint hum of life all around us. It's the earth reminding us who we are. Science calls this the Anthropocene, the age when human influence shapes the planet. But perhaps it is better thought of as an age of awakening, a moment when we begin to remember our place within the greater flow. For all our technology, our most important discovery remains simple, that the world is alive and that our peace depends on its peace. So tonight, as you listen to the quiet around you, imagine every human who has ever lived breathing together, billions of small currents joining the atmosphere. Imagine every word ever spoken, every song ever sung, still echoing softly in the air. Imagine the planet listening, as it always has, patient beneath it all. The age of humans is still unfolding, still young, still learning, and yet, even in our restlessness, we are capable of remembering what our ancestors knew, that peace is not something we must invent. It is the sound of the earth continuing beneath our noise, steady, forgiving, infinite. Every system on earth, from the smallest seed to the swirling of the atmosphere, survives by a delicate agreement, a balance so precise that even the faintest shift can change everything. And yet, this balance has endured for billions of years, holding oceans in their basins, air in its perfect mixture, and warmth in a narrow band where life can breathe. It is fragile, yes, but not weak. Its strength lies in flexibility, in the quiet wisdom of adjustment. Everywhere you look, this balance is at work. A leaf exhales oxygen while a creature nearby inhales. Rain falls, seeps through soil, then rises again as mist. Predator and prey, fire and forest, sunlight and shadow, each exists because of the other. Remove one note and the song changes, but the music continues, rewriting itself in new keys of survival. That is how the earth endures, not through stillness but through harmony. The balance is mathematical and poetic at once. Too much heat and ice melts into sea. Too much cold and the oceans freeze. Yet for 4.5 billion years the planet has kept its range. The earth dances with the sun at just the right distance. Not too close, not too far. The orbit of peace. Our atmosphere too is a masterpiece of moderation. Just thick enough to hold warmth, just thin enough to let light through. Even a single breath carries this precision. The ratio of gases that lets fire burn, lungs fill, and clouds form. But balance is not a permanent state. It must be maintained moment by moment. When one pattern falters, when forests thin or coral fades, or the air grows heavy with our making, the earth responds. She shifts her rhythms, trying to steady herself. Storms strengthen, seasons blur, temperatures sway. These are not punishments, they are corrections. They are the planet's way of seeking homeostasis, the same process your own body follows when it sweats, shivers, or sighs. To witness imbalance is not to lose hope. It is to be reminded of connection, of how our choices ripple outward. A plastic bottle carried by the wind joins the ocean story. A tree planted in silence alters the future of air. Every act, large or small, leans the scales one way or another. The truth is simple. Balance is fragile because everything matters. And that is not cause for fear, but for reverence. If you stand still long enough, you can feel this equilibrium at work in your own body. The heart beats faster when the air grows thin, slower when you rest. Your temperature adjusts with the weather, your breath deepens when oxygen dips. You're a living echo of the Earth's own balance, a small planet orbiting within a greater one. What happens to the world happens in you. Scientists use models and graphs to describe this fragility, to predict how much warmth a coral reef can bear, or how much carbon a forest can store. But the lesson behind the data is timeless. Nothing survives alone. The planet's health is communal, a relationship between water, air, soil, and light, between the seen and unseen, the ancient and the newborn. To live peacefully is to live aware of this relationship, to move with care within it. Imagine walking through a forest after rain. The air is thick with scent, the ground damp beneath your feet. Each step compresses soil that feeds roots, that hold water that shapes the sky. You are part of that chain, not observer, but participant. And as you move gently, the balance holds. The fragility of balance is not a warning to fear the world's end, but an invitation to cherish its continuance. It reminds us that peace is maintained, not possessed, that harmony must be practiced, the way breathing must be repeated. Tonight, as you lie still, the same balance surrounds you. Your breath matches the rhythm of the air. Your body warms against the cool of the night. Outside, tides rise, forests exhale, clouds drift, all finding equilibrium in their own quiet ways. And somewhere deep within the earth, the core turns steadily, keeping it all together. Fragile, yes, but fragility can be sacred, because only what is deeply connected can ever be so delicately whole. There are places on earth where life gathers in its richest abundance, places where the air hums, the ground glows, and every breath feels ancient. These are the rainforests, the planet's lungs and libraries, the living cathedrals of renewal. Even after loss, even after fire or drought, they find their way back. The rainforest is Earth remembering how to breathe. From above, a rainforest looks like a single green ocean, a vast expanse of canopy undulating like waves. But within that green lies more diversity than anywhere else on the planet. Each tree supports thousands of lives. Each leaf shelters a hidden world. Mosses, orchids, insects, birds, primates, layers upon layers of existence, all moving together in quiet coordination. If the desert teaches simplicity, the rainforest teaches abundance. Not chaos, but harmony through complexity. When rain falls, it doesn't simply wet the leaves, it completes a cycle centuries in motion. The trees themselves help create the clouds that feed them. Moisture rises from their leaves in invisible mist, condenses in the air, and returns as rain. The forest rains upon itself, a perfect loop of giving and receiving. This self-sustaining rhythm is what makes it eternal. Scientists studying regrowth after deforestation have found something miraculous. Even when the forest is cut, its memory remains in the soil. Seeds buried deep, roots dormant but alive. Fungi sleeping beneath the surface, all waiting for the moment light and moisture return, and when they do, the forest wakes. Saplings sprout where none were seen. Vines climb again. Birdsong returns. Within decades, a destroyed landscape begins to heal, green by green, note by note. Resilience, written in chlorophyll. It's easy to think of a forest as silent, but in truth it is filled with sound, layered, resonant, and alive. The drip of water from canopy to ground, the buzz of wings, the murmur of wind weaving through leaves. Each sound is a syllable in the rainforest's language of balance, and beneath it all roots communicate through chemical signals and fungi, trees sharing water, nutrients, and warning messages when danger comes. Science calls it the wood wide web. Nature calls it community. Rainforests cover less than 10% of Earth's surface, yet they hold more than half its species. They regulate global temperature, create rainfall for continents, and store carbon that keeps the air breathable. But beyond their function, they carry a quiet truth, that life wants to live. Even when burned, flooded, or cut, the instinct to grow remains unstoppable. The rainforest's peace is not in stillness, it's in persistence. If you've ever stood beneath such a canopy, you know the feeling. The air thick and cool, rich with scent and sound. Light filters through in shifting beams, gold against green. Raindrops fall in slow motion, catching rainbows as they descend. The ground pulses faintly underfoot, alive with roots and unseen creatures. It is as though the earth itself were breathing all around you, and you were breathing with it. The return of rainforests, wherever it happens, is a reminder that healing is natural when the right conditions are allowed. Give life space, and it fills it. Give it rest, and it returns stronger. We are not separate from that resilience. It is within us too. Our hearts, like forests, can regrow after loss, can find light again after shadow. The pattern of renewal is universal. So tonight, imagine a green ocean rising from the ashes, leaves unfolding in slow motion, vines weaving through fallen trunks, water dripping, roots awakening, the sound of new life, patient and unstoppable, each drop of rain a blessing, each sprout a prayer. This is not just nature recovering, it is the earth remembering its song. The rainforest returns not with noise, but with breath. And in that breath, the world begins again. We move through it every second, yet almost never notice it. Air, invisible, weightless, always present, is the quietest miracle we know. It wraps the planet in softness, holds clouds in its arms, carries scent, sound, and song. It is the thread that binds every living thing together. You are breathing now because the earth never stops giving. A single breath contains trillions of molecules, oxygen exhaled by forests, carbon once held in the sea, hydrogen born from the stars. Each inhalation is ancient. The air entering your lungs tonight may have passed through a whale's blowhole centuries ago. or drifted over the pyramids, or circled the summit of Everest before finding you. It moves endlessly, sharing itself with all life, asking for nothing in return. Scientists call this grand exchange the atmospheric circulation. Warm air rises from the equator, cools as it moves toward the poles, and sinks again, forming great rivers of wind that loop around the world. These invisible currents sculpt weather, carry rain, and distribute life's breath across continents. Every cloud, every whisper of breeze, every thunderstorm begins as a shift in this unseen flow. It is the Earth inhaling and exhaling on a planetary scale. There are layers to the air, each with its own temperament. Closest to us lies the troposphere, where weather and life unfold, a churning ocean of gas just 10 kilometers deep. Above it, the stratosphere holds the ozone layer, a fragile shield that filters sunlight into warmth instead of fire. Then come the higher layers, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere, where air grows thin, merging gradually with space. From the surface to the stars, it is all one breath, becoming lighter, freer, and finally infinite. The chemistry of air is balance incarnate. Nitrogen steadies it, oxygen fuels it. Carbon dioxide feeds the green world that keeps it whole. Remove one, and everything trembles. Add too much, and the world warms in discomfort. Even here, harmony is the secret to peace. It's not the stillness of air that sustains life, but its motion, gentle, constant, mindful. You can see this motion made visible in small ways. The way leaves tremble without sound, the way smoke curls upward and dissolves, the way a single breath fogs a cold window then fades back to transparency. Air never clings. It moves on. It forgives everything it touches. Animals speak through it. Birds carve shapes in it. Seeds float across continents upon it. Rainbows appear when light bends through its moisture. And sound, even this narration, exists only because air carries vibration to your ears. The calm you hear in a voice, the distant echo of wind or wave, all of it travels through this invisible kindness. In some traditions, air is called prana, life force. In others, chi, the breath of existence. Every culture, every language, every faith has felt the same truth. To breathe is to connect with everything that breathes. It is communion without ceremony, a ritual performed unconsciously since birth. Try, now, to feel the air as something alive. Notice how it enters, cool and subtle, how it leaves, warm and gentle. It does not ask you to control it. It only invites you to notice. Each breath mirrors the planet's pulse, inhaling sunlight through forests, exhaling calm through night. When you align with that rhythm, you're not only breathing air, you're breathing with the world itself. So as you lie here, let your breath lengthen. Inhale slowly. The atmosphere flows into you. Exhale softly. You return it, purified by peace. This exchange has no beginning and no end. It is the earth speaking in the quietest way possible, a whisper that sustains oceans, forests, and hearts alike. The hidden life of air is not hidden at all. It is everywhere, between words, between thoughts, between stars. The most constant miracle, invisible, but eternal. If you walk deep enough into a forest and stand still, you can feel something beneath the silence. A subtle, living pulse. It is not the sound of wind or water, but of life itself, breathing in unison. Forests are not collections of trees. They are living systems bound by roots and air, light and memory. Every leaf is a lung, every branch a vein, every root a thread in a vast green mind that never truly sleeps. At dawn, the forest inhales. As sunlight filters through the canopy, the leaves open, stretching toward the light. Photosynthesis begins, and the forest starts its daily exchange, drawing in carbon, releasing oxygen. Billions of invisible breaths rise at once, joining to form the fresh morning air. This exhale of peace sustains the world. But a forest does not breathe alone. Beneath your feet, roots intertwine through soil and stone, connected by delicate networks of fungi. An underground web that allows trees to share water, nutrients, even warnings. When one tree is cut or sick, others respond, sending resources where they are needed. Science calls this the mycorrhizal network. Poets might call it the Earth's empathy. Through these connections, forests behave like families, separate above, united below. Even the rhythm of sound here follows a pattern of balance. Birds sing at dawn and dusk, their calls filling the upper air. Insects hum in layers, adjusting their pitches so their songs do not overlap. Rain falls, then drips, then fades. The forest soundscape is a living orchestra, composed anew each moment, yet perfectly tuned to harmony. To walk through it is to step into the music of equilibrium. Trees speak the language of patience. They grow by millimeters each day but reach hundreds of feet into the sky. They shed their leaves to rest, then bloom again in spring. They remind us that slowness is not failure, it is wisdom in motion. Where we rush to grow, they wait, and in waiting, they endure. Scientists once thought trees were isolated beings competing for sunlight, but they were wrong. When a tall tree captures light, it shares its sugar through roots with smaller ones. When the canopy thickens, older trees thin their crowns to let younger saplings find room. Every forest is a society of giving, each part surviving only by helping the others. It is the blueprint of peace itself, strength through cooperation, not competition. And when one tree falls, the forest absorbs its return. Moss covers the bark, fungi bloom, and insects arrive. What was once upright becomes nourishment for what still stands. Even in death, nothing is wasted. The forest remembers through transformation. It is a reminder that endings in nature are not finales, but continuations written in a different form. If you could measure a forest's energy, you would find it pulses like a heartbeat. Sensors placed on trunks reveal gentle electrical signals, faint but constant, moving through roots and stems, the slow language of growth. The rhythm is not human fast, but earth fast, so slow that we can only perceive its patience, not its pace. To sit quietly within it is to align your own heartbeat to that rhythm. So breathe now as the forest breathes. Inhale the freshness of green, the quiet gift of leaves turning sunlight into calm. Exhale and imagine your breath becoming mist, drifting upward through branches, joining the greater exchange. You're not outside this system. You are part of its pulse, as necessary as rain, as temporary as leaf, as eternal as cycle. When the night comes, the forest exhales once more, settling into stillness. The stars shimmer above, faintly visible through gaps in the canopy. Everything slows. The wind, the heart, the thoughts. And in that slow rhythm, you can hear the truth whispered through bark and soil. The forest is breathing, and so are you. Together, one rhythm, one calm, one endless pulse of life. All things that live carry water inside them, rivers in miniature, tides sealed beneath skin and leaf. It is our first cradle, our oldest memory, and our quietest strength. Without it, the planet would be dust. With it, everything moves, grows, and endures. Water is not just what fills the oceans, it is what connects every living thing to every other. The Earth holds about 1.4 billion cubic kilometers of water, and yet not a single drop is truly new. Every molecule in your body has been here since the beginning, once part of clouds, glaciers, tears, seas, and storms. When you drink, you are drinking memory, of rain that fell on ancient forests, of waves that brushed the first shorelines, of rivers that carved mountains into stories. Water is history that flows. It falls from clouds as gentle mist or furious rain, pools in valleys, weaves itself into rivers, and finally returns to the sea. Then, warmed by sunlight, it rises again, invisible and light, joining the air to begin the cycle once more. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation, the endless rhythm of motion between sky and soil. This is how the planet keeps its pulse, a ceaseless exchange between above and below, giving and receiving, rising and returning. Water doesn't resist gravity. It cooperates with it. It seeks the lowest path, finds the easiest way, and in doing so shapes the hardest stone. Even the greatest canyons were carved not by violence, but by patience. Drip by drip, flow by flow. This is the lesson water offers. True power is gentle, persistent, stronger than force. In every form, water speaks a different tone of peace. In lakes, it mirrors the sky, holding stillness so perfectly that clouds appear to rest upon it. In rivers, it hums with movement, whispering to rocks as it passes. In rain, it becomes music, percussion upon leaves and rooftops, rhythm in sync with breath. And in snow, it becomes silence itself, slowing the world to a soft, luminous hush. Inside us, water flows in similar ways. It moves through our veins like rivers, regulates our temperature like tides, and carries nutrients like ocean currents. The human body is about 60% water, a self-contained sea, remembering its origin. Your heartbeat is the echo of waves crashing in distant time. Your tears are the ocean returning home. Scientists have found that even droplets of water vibrate when exposed to sound, shaping themselves into patterns that reflect the music around them. Water listens. It translates vibration into form, turning sound into art. In the same way, we too are shaped by what we absorb: voices, emotions, experiences. The waves within us take their pattern from what we let in. Choose calm, and the water inside you becomes still. Water is also memory in motion. The rain that touches your skin tonight may one day fall on another world. The same drop may have once quenched the thirst of a mammoth or fallen upon a blade of prehistoric grass. Nothing is ever lost. It only changes state. Liquid to vapour, vapour to cloud, cloud to rain, rain to sea. This is the alchemy of peace, transformation without end. If you listen closely, you can hear water even when none is near. Its rhythm is everywhere, in your breath, your heartbeat, the blood moving quietly through your body. It is the sound beneath all sound, the flow beneath all thought. Let it carry you now. Imagine yourself drifting upon an unseen current, weightless and free. You do not need to swim, you only need to float. The water knows where to go. As you surrender to its motion, feel yourself lighten. Each worry, each thought dissolves like salt returning to sea. You are part of the same flow that began before time and will continue long after. And as the water moves through you, calm, clear, eternal, it whispers the simplest truth of all. Peace is not found on the surface. Peace is what flows beneath. Above us, the sky seems silent, a vast blue canvas by day, a deep velvet by night. But if we could listen with finer senses, we would hear its hidden symphony. The low hum of wind in motion, the vibration of pressure waves rolling around the globe, the whisper of air brushing mountain and sea. The sky is not empty. It sings constantly. In frequencies too slow, too soft, too vast for our ears. Scientists call this infrasound, waves of energy that travel thousands of kilometers through air. They are born from thunderstorms, volcanic eruptions, ocean waves, even the fall of meteorites. Together these sounds weave the planet's unseen melody, the pulse of atmosphere, always present, always moving. If you've ever stood in open air and felt a faint vibration you couldn't place, that was the Earth's music, played through sky and wind. Every morning begins with this symphony. As sunlight warms the horizon, air rises gently, creating waves of motion that ripple outward. Birds join in with their first calls, songs shaped not just by instinct, but by the acoustics of the air around them. Each species has evolved its voice to fit its home, high notes for dense forests, low calls for open plains, rhythmic pulses for the ocean's edge. It is not random, it is harmony and evolution, the planet tuning itself note by note. Even clouds make music, though not in the way we hear it. Their formations depend on temperature, pressure, and moisture, all vibrating in balance. When clouds collide and shift, they send micro-tremors through the atmosphere. In that sense, a storm is a kind of drumbeat. The thunderclap is only its most dramatic note. And lightning? It is the flash between two measures, a brief crescendo of energy before calm returns. Long ago, humans learned to mirror this language. The first flutes were carved to imitate wind in reeds, the first drums to echo thunder, the first chants to carry across valleys. Even now our songs follow the same geometry as the weather, building, peaking, dissolving, resting. We learned melody from nature before we learned it from ourselves. The air above us also carries the voices of the world. Sound never fully disappears, it only spreads and softens. When you speak, the vibration of your words travels upward, blending into the atmosphere's great archive of resonance. In this way, the sky's a library of sound, the laughter, cries, storms and whispers of everything that has ever lived. All of it still moves somewhere in the air, too faint for ears, too delicate for instruments, but not lost. The planet remembers in waves. At night, when the wind stills and the stars appear, the sky's song changes. The upper atmosphere cools and contracts, and the sound waves slow. What remains is near silence, not absence, but stillness between notes. It is then that you can hear the softer instruments, the breath of the wind through leaves, the gentle hiss of distant waves, the quiet hum of your own body aligning with the air. If you've ever fallen asleep to the sound of rain, you have felt the sky's music at its gentlest. Each drop is a note in an infinite score, no two strikes exactly the same, yet all forming perfect rhythm. Even the pauses between them are part of the composition. The sky does not need structure, it simply expresses, and we receive. Astronomers have found that even beyond the atmosphere, in the vacuum of space, sound exists, not as audible vibration, but as electromagnetic wave. The sun hums, planets sing. The universe itself vibrates in frequencies so deep that a single oscillation can take minutes or hours. We are surrounded by song from the atom to the galaxy. Life is the way matter learns to hear. So tonight as you rest, imagine that music all around you. The low chords of the wind, the percussion of distant waves, the soft hum of your own breath in harmony with them. You're part of the sky's melody, a single tone in the vast, endless composition. And when you fall asleep, the air will keep singing, gently, invisibly, the world's oldest lullaby continuing without end. Even in the deepest night, the earth glows, not brightly, not in flames, but in the quiet persistence of light that refuses to vanish. It shines in starlight reflected off the ocean, in the phosphorescent shimmer of plankton stirred by waves, in the slow pulse of fireflies drifting through summer air. There is always light somewhere, resting, breathing, waiting to be seen. Photons, the smallest particles of light, have no rest. They travel straight and fast, never slowing, never aging. A photon that left a star millions of years ago may be touching your skin this very moment, ending a journey older than humanity itself. Light in its essence just is the messenger of time, carrying memory across space, revealing what once was and what still is. When you look at the stars, you're seeing history arrive in silence. Even the darkness around you now is filled with faint light. Scientists call it the air glow, a gentle luminescence produced by the upper atmosphere as molecules of oxygen and nitrogen release energy absorbed during the day. It is invisible to the eye, yet constant, bathing the planet in an unseen halo. The night is never total. The world always remembers how to shine. Light touches everything it meets, but asks for nothing. It reveals, it nourishes, it warms. It carries energy from the sun to the smallest leaf, transforming photons into life. Every apple, every tree, every breath of oxygen you take is sunlight turned into matter. The planet eats light, and we live from its reflection. Even our thoughts, the tiny sparks moving through neurons, are electric. Small inner suns lighting up the mind. You're not only surrounded by light, you're made of it. Bioluminescence. The light made by living things might be the most peaceful of all. In deep oceans, plankton bloom into waves of blue-green fire when disturbed. Each glow lasts only a few seconds, yet when millions ignite together, the sea becomes a galaxy of its own. It's the ocean's dream made visible, light moving like breath through water. Scientists say it helps life communicate and survive. Poets say it's the night remembering the day. Both are true. In forests too, light lingers in unexpected forms. Some fungi glow faintly in the dark, releasing a steady emerald hue across fallen wood. These tiny lanterns of decay remind us that light does not belong only to beginnings. Even in decomposition, illumination remains. Warmth within surrender. If you could watch the Earth from space, you would see it shimmering faintly against the black. Auroras swirling near the poles, lightning flickering through clouds, volcanoes painting momentary stars along the surface. This is the Earthlight, and it never ceases. Even when half the planet sleeps, the other half gleams. The world is a sphere of rotating brilliance and rest, a cosmic heartbeat of illumination. We often think of darkness and light as opposites, but the truth is softer. They exist not in conflict, but in companionship. Darkness gives shape to light, and light gives meaning to shadow. One cannot be seen without the other. Together, they create depth, the way night defines the stars, the way silence defines music. The balance between them is the essence of peace. When you close your eyes now, you may notice traces of light dancing beneath your lids, faint colours shifting and fading, the afterimage of a day. That too is proof that light never fully leaves. It stays within you, echoing softly in the mind. Even as you rest, your cells hum with bioluminescent whispers, electricity moving through veins, repairing, remembering. You're glowing quietly in your own way, a constellation turned inward. So as the night surrounds you, let yourself become aware of this secret brightness, the shimmer in the sky, the pulse in your chest, the thought flickering like a small star in darkness. The light that never sleeps is not out there. It is here, flowing through breath, through dream, through every quiet corner of the living earth. It does not need to shine loudly to be eternal. It only needs to continue, softly, steadily, forever. When night falls across the continents and oceans, something quiet happens. The planet exhales. The winds slow, temperatures soften, light dims into shadow, and the great body of the earth enters its nightly rhythm of rest. Not everything sleeps at once, but everything slows. Even the restless ocean hushes its surface, and the forests, breathing deeply, release their calm into the air. This is the earth dreaming. It dreams in cycles, of water rising and falling, of tides whispering to the moon, of clouds forming and dissolving in an endless, graceful loop. In the stillness of night, energy does not vanish. It turns inward. The heat of the day seeps into soil. Animals curl into safety. Leaves close as seeds wait. Air cools. The entire planet, for a moment, feels like one vast body breathing in rhythm with the universe. Scientists have found that the Earth itself vibrates, ever so faintly. A constant hum at a frequency of 7.3 Hz, known as the Schumann resonance. It's created by lightning, by the atmosphere, by the pulse of energy between ground and sky. And here is the wonder. Our brainwaves, when we are calm or drifting towards sleep, often match that very same frequency. Our peace, it seems, is literally tuned to the Earth's own heartbeat. We don't just live on the planet, we live with it, synchronized to its silent music. As you lie still, your body becomes part of this harmony. The pull of gravity holds you. The air moves gently in and out of your lungs, and beneath you, miles below, molten currents turn like slow dreams of fire. Above you, the atmosphere glows faintly with starlight, sheltering you in its invisible arms. Every part of the planet, from the trembling of a leaf to the rotation of its core, continues, balanced, alive, complete. You are wrapped inside that motion, held in a lullaby 4.5 billion years in the making. The Earth dreams of renewal. In its deep time, forests regrow where deserts once stood. Glaciers retreat and return. Rivers change their course and begin again. Even when damage is done, the planet heals itself through patience. It has endured meteor strikes, fire, and ice ages, yet each time it has found balance again. Its resilience is not forceful. It is graceful, forgiving, unhurried. It reminds us that healing is not a race. It is a rhythm. When we rest, we join that rhythm. Every heartbeat is a tide, every breath a wave rising and falling upon an unseen shore. Sleep itself is a return to the planet's original motion, surrendering to gravity, to warmth, to stillness. It is how we remember what peace feels like. It is how we tune ourselves back to the dream of Earth. If you listen closely, you might feel it now. The faint hum beneath all things, the deep vibration of soil and sea and sky. It moves through you, through stone, through air. It is not loud, not urgent. It is steady. It has always been steady. It will continue long after morning light. And so, as you drift towards sleep, imagine the world turning gently beneath you, clouds gliding over oceans, forests breathing in rhythm, mountains resting beneath stars. You are part of that dream, and the dream is part of you. No separation, no distance, only flow. Let your thoughts fade like waves dissolving into shore. Let your body grow heavy, anchored by gravity's kindness. Let your mind grow quiet, illuminated by the soft light within. The Earth is dreaming, and tonight it carries you with it, through calm seas, through drifting clouds, through starlit silence, into the endless motion of peace. Everything flows. Sleep in that motion.